Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Wednesday night coverage of the WSSR VRS Cup Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tonight, we've got ourselves some Season 11 racing action. After coming off a very rough race at Bristol, we got to finally see Seth Knoll get himself into victory lane for the first time of the season. We go from one of the smallest tracks that we're going to be running on to one of the bigger tracks as we are here in the Irish Hills for Michigan. A course that's known to be giving 3, 4, sometimes even 5 or more wide. It is a track that also is going to be making things very tough on the competition. With all the iRacing updates that have also been coming out, it makes this track even tougher. We'll see who can navigate the dirty air, who can survive the evening, and find themselves on top of the leaderboard at the end of tonight's 111-lap race. Once again, we're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me here this evening is Richard Wolsifer. And Richard, certainly a big swing, you could say. We're heading from Las Vegas to Bristol, now Michigan. It certainly has been a test these last few weeks, but tonight, all drivers know it's about surviving the pack racing that Michigan usually produces.
Hey, Sam, yeah, it is a big swing of the track over the past couple of weeks. I mean, you go from an intermediate to a short track back to a bigger intermediate. There really was no flow with these past couple of weeks. So coming off a rough race at Bristol, like you were saying, very, very high caution count there. A lot of crazy wrecks there. Probably a lot of tempers a little maybe that might have carried over, but it's Michigan. This track can easily provide some very, very good racing, but with this new update, we will definitely have to see how these drivers can navigate the field. It's going to be really hard to pass at times with that dirty air. You're going to have to find different lines to try and get that air on that front end of the car to get that car to turn around these turns a little better. But I mean, yeah, 3 wide, 4 wide racing. We're going to see more than likely quite a bit of it tonight. This is a track with a lot of high speeds, though not a super speedway. Draft is still a huge important part.
It certainly is an important part, and the fact of the matter is, like you said, there were a lot of tempers that flared up after last week's race. Before we get too much into tonight's race, last week we had over 23 cautions being thrown, and with all those cautions coming out, frustration mounted over. For some drivers, they boiled too far over the limit, and they were caused to get penalties. Over 8 drivers are entering into tonight's race with penalties. Some, they're just simple EOLs, they'll start at the end of the line type of penalties. Others, they've got drive-throughs. Some have a drive-through and hold penalty, and 2 drivers enter tonight that will not be able to even attempt this evening's race. Brad Delph, Christopher Norris, both given race suspensions. Christopher Norris, he went over the limit too many times this season. He's got a 2-race suspension that he's going to be having to carry over, so he'll be missing tonight here at Michigan and next week at the Roval. Brad Delph will be missing tonight's race. Other drivers that are going to be having big problems. Brian Noel, he's the driver with the stop and hold penalty, as well as we'll be seeing EOL penalties given out to Justin Malarkey, Colin Carroll, Jarrett Talmadge, GT Rosari, and a penalty carrying over from Las Vegas, John Forbes Jr. He's going to have an EOL penalty as well as a drive-through. So we'll see how John recovers from that one. And everyone else has to march their way through the field as we have over 30 drivers expected to race here tonight. Richard, big field. It's going to be a tough one to get through the pack, especially for those that are dealing with EOL penalties.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones is going to be John Forbes. We have seen him up front every single race this season. He won back-to-back races also. So seeing him getting an EOL, he's got to carry over from Las Vegas. He was not here for the race at Bristol last week. This is going to be a rough race for him. He's going to have to learn how to navigate this dirty air with this new update here at Michigan. And he's going to have to find people that want to work with him. He's going to have to use that draft to get around these guys, use the momentum around these turns, and try to find some friends, because it's not going to be an easy task for him to march up through the field. And especially also for the drivers that are parked for this race, that just puts an even bigger damper on their attempt to try to make the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I would say this almost cements Christopher Norris missing out on his chance for racing for the playoffs. It certainly is going to be an interesting one overall for this evening, but excited to see how these drivers are going to be getting set up, as we've got ourselves just a minute left before qualifying. I think we're going to take a quick commercial break before qualifying starts to just get some things finicky finished up before we get to more racing action. We'll be back with qualifying right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have just entered into qualifying. Drivers are currently underway with their first laps being placed down. About half the field is sitting in pit road, still waiting for the optimal time to get back out there on track to set their fastest lap to see who will grab the pole award here this evening. Here's going to be Ben Keeney, who's going to be aiming for a good run here tonight, hoping to at least get a finish this season, as the 98 struggled last week at Bristol, but trying to maximize the speed, which maximizing the speed, Richard, this has been an interesting thing with the new iRacing update. We've seen it with the 1.5 mile tracks. Lap 1 has been the critical lap that drivers are aiming for. I'm curious if that's going to be the case for these 2-mile courses, as we are currently seeing laps trickle in. It's Minazzi Major with a 39.559. Now take it away. It's Nicholas Renner, Nick Crawford. It's moving quick on Who Wants the Pole Time.
Yeah, these times are ticking by really fast, and both of Nick's able to take the top times by a decent amount as well. So it's going to be really hard to top Nick Crawford's time. At least we'll have to see what they can do. But yeah, no, the first lap has been typically your faster lap with the cars with the new tire update that they did on these next gen cup cars. And it's just you lose so much speed after you get those tires warmed up ever so slightly, and just trying to get that second lap to be faster usually doesn't work out. But we'll have to see. Zachary Hall is able to take it up there to the second place, and Vincent Sora in third, as we have Ben Keeney wrecking his car here in the qualifying.
Yeah, luckily it's on the virtual side. That was a vicious hit that we never want to see in real life happen, but Ben decided, all right, my qualifying's done, and just throws his vehicle into the outside wall, as Nick Crawford still top of the board with Zach Hall going to be in second. Brian Noel, who will have a stop and hold penalty, qualifies third. He will also be sent to the end of the line. So the 00 trying to get a little bit of an advantage here, as Nico Garcia now going to be up to second place, as we ride on board with our fastest driver from practice, the 22 of Colby DiCarlo, who honestly, Colby had a strong performance last week at Bristol. Kind of surprised me. We've seen Colby have good qualifying runs. It's staying up front that's been the issue. And the 22 hoping that this first lap is good enough for the pole time. Will it be fast enough for the pole? It's a 39.3, good enough for fourth. Also going to be seeing John Forbes up to sixth place. Not fast enough for the pole time. That still is in the hands of the 74, Nick Crawford.
Yeah, Nick Crawford still holding that pole position, but Nico Garcia, very strong run for him, getting seconds right along with Colby DiCarlo at the current moment, sitting fourth place. He's running his second lap right now. Like we said, it's probably not going to be any faster, but he's still going to try put down a little bit of a faster lap for himself. We'll see what he does as he comes out of turn 4, try to stay off that outside wall. Downside about 4 is the car wants to push up there to that wall, does a good job, keeps it off the wall, crosses the line, and it will not be any faster for Colby DiCarlo. He will sit there in fourth position with that 39.3.
Jared Talmadge hoping for the quick time as this first go around. Got to be 39.6. It's good enough for 25th right now. That is a shockingly slow time for the 27 that's been looking very strong this season. Everyone's at least put one time in, except for the 21 of Ross Tatum, who's making his return to hope to see if Ross can get into victory lane for himself. He showed very strong pace at the short tracks earlier in the season at Rockingham and Dover. Will the 2-mile course be strong enough for the 21, as based off lap times and the fact that lap 1 has been the money lap, Nick Crawford pole time for the 74. What a run for himself. Going to be his first pole this season. And Nick Crawford, Michigan, has been a strong point in other leagues that we've seen the 74 race in. It hasn't been the place where he's gotten into victory lane in the past here in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We'll see if that changes as we get prepared for the warm-ups. 5 minutes given to the field as well. So 5 minutes for us to take a deeper dive into how the regular season has been so far. Again, this is season 11, race 9. We are 3/4 of the way through our regular season, and here's the points entering this evening. It's Gavin Rogers top of the board with a 15-point advantage over Vincent Sora, as all drivers have at least one drop race they have in their pocket. If you have one bad race, you miss a race, it's still going to be putting you in a good spot to be racing to make it into the top 16 in points. But you look at that cutoff zone, 16th, 17th. It's Chris Ditz, it's Douglas Newbigging, with Brian P. Johnson sneaking his way into our top 16.
Brian P. Johnson is sneaking his way past that cut line, but he's still down there. I mean, he could secure himself in with a win. I mean, we see Gavin Rogers up there in the first in points right now. Still no win for him as well, which is a little shocking to see at the moment. So hopefully he has a little bit better run tonight. But I mean, Douglas Newbig and Chris Stitz, definitely a couple drivers we're expecting to make the playoffs. We'll have to keep an eye on this battle all the rest of this season to see who can inch out just a little bit of points. Get some stage points also can help you out and get you above that cut line of 16th place.
And after talking to our winner last week of Seth Knoll, he's already announced that he's going part-time. He is not planning on racing in the playoffs. So technically our cutoff could be 17th and 18th, whereas Douglas Newbegin and Samuel Garcia, those drivers know they've got a great opportunity. Ali Fonseca also getting one position. I think the biggest surprise, though, outside looking in 25th position, Zach Hall, he needs a rebound race. And tonight could be the evening where his whole entire season could shake up. If he can get a win, he's close to being placed into the playoffs. As we move from our point standings and we take a look at the schedule so far, like I said, this is race 9. We've completed 8 races so far. And here's been your pole sitter winners, your race winners, and how they've lined up so far. It has been that first race, got to see Drew Jua getting the pole, but the big surprise winner, Joshua Kanata. Then race number 2 at Rockingham, it was Ryan Kelly. And since then, it's been a lot of nightmare fuel. John Forbes, 3 wins so far this season. Vincent Sora able to get in a victory lane at Portland. Thomas Green, his surprising win at Las Vegas. And then last week, utter dominance by Seth Knoll. That's been your season so far. But the upcoming races, Michigan, Charlotte, Roval, North Wilkesboro, and Talladega, the last races before the playoffs.
Yeah, I think a lot of these drivers that are outside looking in, they are going to be looking forward to Talladega. That is a race that anything can happen. I mean, we had Joshua Kanata win at Atlanta Super Speedway. Great work by him. But Charlotte Roval, that'll be a fun race to watch as we have our road course ringers. Maybe that could be Gavin Rogers' ticket to finally score a W. I know he's still looking at trying to get an oval win also here. He just always seems to find himself on the bad end of strategy. But it's going to be an exciting last couple of weeks before the playoffs kick off at Indianapolis, and I can't wait to see who the final 16 is going to be going into that race.
It is so exciting to watch the crunch down, the countdown to who's making the playoffs. Always enjoyable to see. And for us, we've got some other drivers that we feel like you need to check out and see. Who are some of our drivers of spotlights, and some we feel like are drivers that could win, those to watch out for. And I'm going with the driver who I think has a chance to win. He doesn't feel too confident with his new update, but at a track like Michigan, anything can happen if he can find the right speed, find the right aerospace. Zach Hall is my driver to watch out for here tonight. I'm going for Zach could potentially win here this evening. Got a couple of drivers missing out, which gives more chances. And 32 is my driver to watch out for. We head it over to you, Richard. Who is your spotlight driver for this evening?
You know, I talked to him prior to the broadcast starting, and he wasn't very confident going into this race. He's not really sure how he feels about this update still, but had a fantastic race at Bristol, scoring his first top 10. I'm going to have to go with the 71 of Nico Garcia. He's qualifying outside pole here at Michigan. I'm sure he's really shocked and so happy to get that high up in his qualifying.
And then we've got our third member of our group, producer here for Freaky Fast Broadcasting. That's Robert Moyer Jr., and he's going with a shocking pick. It's the 16 of Joshua Kanata. We've seen Joshua Kanata look good at these bigger tracks where it's a lot more pack racing. Does the 16 have a little bit of magic? He won at Atlanta Super Speedway. Could he win at Michigan International Speedway? We'll have to wait and see. But those are our 3 picks of drivers to watch out for. We also want to say thank you to the amazing sponsors that help out here for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We've got the title sponsor, VRS, otherwise known as the Virtual Racing School. We also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and the camera providers for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Whiplash Sim Cams. We'll talk more about these amazing sponsors later on in the race as warm-up is concluding. That means it's about to be race time. Race number 9 here at Michigan. It is a track that everything could change. It's 2 miles in length, but you can see the wind. It's shifting at the bottom there, or anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour it's been during practice, qualifying, and the warm-ups. Big thing of note, it is the air and track temperature. Air temperature, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, but track temperature, it's a warm day, 120 4 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm nervous for the field, Richard. That is a very warm track we're heading into.
It is a very, very hot track that these drivers are going to have to deal with tonight here at Michigan. This is going to really test this new tire update for these guys. They're going to have to figure out how to drive these cars, with such a hot temperature. But a lot of factors these guys have to deal with every week in and out. And just to add on the new update with the new aero and new tire model, it's going to be a really interesting race for them.
As the field is starting to grid up, it's time for us to take a look at our starting grid for tonight's featured race. Taking the pole side for the first time here for season 11, it's going to be the 74 of Nick Crawford. To his outside, trying to carry over some great momentum from Las Vegas to Bristol. Can it be here at Michigan? Nico Garcia starting the front row in second. In row number 2 in third place, it's the 32 of Zach Hall. Also trying to carry over some great momentum from last week. It's going to be Colby DiCarlo in the 22. Fifth place, gonna have a stop and hold penalty after lap 1. The double zero of Brian Noel will be here in 5th position. 6, looking for redemption from the last time we ran here back in season 9. It's the 9 of Shane Tarian. He'll be starting in 6th. 7th is John Forbes Jr., who also will have a penalty after the first lap. He will have a drive-through penalty as he qualifies 7th. It's Vincent Sora going to be qualifying 8th. 9th is going to be Nicholas Renner, and finishing out our top 10, it's our Las Vegas winner in the 31 of Thomas Green.
Going out 11th will be the 49 of Brian Bird, and GT Rosario will be starting outside him in 12th position. Drew Drew starting back in the 13th position, and the 41 of Kyle Rochelle starting back in 14th. Cedric Hunter in that Hello Kitty number 13 starting in 15th place, with Ryan Kelly in the number 3 starting outside him in 16th. 17th, we see Larry Yingling, a little far back to start for him, but see how he can do with Joshua Kanata. Roberts Pick sitting back in 18th. Ollie Fonseca in the 24 will be starting out 19th, and Manazzi Major will roll out 20th for the top 20.
Tyler Dingler wasn't scheduled as a penalty, but he will take it. EOL for the 19 machine as he qualified 21st position. Jared Talmadge also will have an EOL penalty. He'll qualify in 22nd position. 23rd is the 8 of Brian McCann, and Samuel Garcia will be in 24th. Douglas Newbegin qualifies all the way back in 25th place, with Joshua Corner in the 2 back in 26th. 27th, EOL penalty given to the 4 of Colin Carroll. Mark Morales will qualify in 28th. 29th is Justin Malarkey, but he's given a penalty as well. Big surprise, all the way down in 30th position. It's the 75 of Gavin Rogers. Ben Kinney will be qualifying in 31st. 32nd is Cody Reed, with Chris Stitz 33rd and 34th. Only driver not to put in a time is Ross Tatum. The field is set. They're ready for some green flag racing action here tonight, and we're proud to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Once again, my name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up at the booth is Richard Wolsifer. Running production in the background is Robert Moyer Jr. We're so proud to give you all the coverage of your WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11, race number 9. Michigan is about to be underway as we enter the restart zone. It's Nick Crawford, it's Nico Garcia as the flagman waves the green flag. We roar down into turn number 1. And Richard, it's a pretty clean start so far, but let the madness begin.
Clean start for these drivers, but this is where we'll see 3 and 4 wide. They are already 4 wide back in the middle of 1 and 2, but it looks like Joshua Kata will back off. They will stay 3 wide though, as we've got 2 rows of 3 wide racing. They're going to back off, get 2 wide again, but it does look like the 77 right there still on the inside. Still a lot of 3 wide racing. These guys are doing a good job. We should have a clean lap 1 racing. Sheen Tarian gets a little bit of a bump from Vincent Sora almost. That could be the Aero Grief we'll see all night as well.
Aero griefing, it's when you get right on the back bumper of a driver ahead of you and you can get them extremely loose as we're 4 wide crossing the line. The battling for just outside the top 5 is starting to heat up as 2 drivers have to enter into pit row. That's Brian Noel, John Forbes. John Forbes, it's simply just a drive-through. Brian Noel, though, it is a drive-through and hold penalty. He'll be in pit road, at least going 1 lap down for the double zero, but we will have the stage break at the end of lap 25 for these drivers here this evening. I just seen a couple of bad balls being thrown as that was a 7 of Douglas Newbegin thinking about putting a nasty block on Gavin Rogers, who's already climbed up to 19th position. As the middle of the field, it is back and forth racing, 3, 4 wide all over the place as Nick Crawford puts down the fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we see with this update so far here at Michigan is the mass amount of aggression these drivers are doing. As we saw Vincent Sora the last lap take it 4 wide on the front stretch, the biggest thing is getting clean air as quick as possible. So these drivers, track position is a massive thing for them. So they're trying to get around as many cars as they possibly can to get near the front and try to get as clean air as they can. But right now, Gavin Rogers following behind, moving his way up through the field, but it looks like Douglas Newbegin sticks his nose underneath, and they're 3 wide coming out of 4.
And Douglas Newbegin, again, he's around that cutoff spot in the points. He needs to make sure he gets a good stage points day as he is trying to climb his way forward for the 7 machine. And all this battling, this is for 20th. This isn't even inside the top 10 or close to the top 10. These are battles for just outside the midpoint of the field. And Douglas Newbegin, oh no, another self-slide and self-sabotage moment for the 7 as he'll lose over 5 positions. And that one wiggle and all the time and ground that he just put down, he's right back to where he qualified.
Yeah, it's something we see more often than I'm sure he would like, is he just gets a little loose coming out of the turns. And, you know, Douglas Newbegin, we know he's fast. He's got speed. He can compete up there with a lot of those drivers that are winning majority of the races. He's just got to figure out what he's doing wrong a lot of these moments when he's getting really aggressive, really fast, and just gets loose coming out of the turn. But still a very fast driver. He's going to work his way back up through. He's right now side by side with Ross Tatum. He's probably going to lose this position with Ross Tatum on that outside, has that momentum down the backstretch.
A couple of other drivers that are losing a little bit of ground. Samuel Garcia losing a spot for himself as the 7 continues to try to march his way forward. It's the battling for me that I'm curious on how long can they survive for. It's that battling we're seeing on screen. You got Cody Reed trying to find a footing to get to the outside row. Ross Tatum, who didn't put in a qualified time, he's up now to 24th. And the 7 to Douglas Newbegin, what are those tires looking like after that slide? As we went green, the track temp did go up a degree. We're now up to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Richard, we have seen in other leagues that you and I have raced in, that we've covered, track temp is so important, especially how this vehicle in certain reacts to the track temp. I'm concerned for the field if it gets any hotter on what the tire wear is going to look like in the next 5 to potentially 10 laps if we're able to stay green.
Yeah, another big thing that we saw, like, you know, Douglas Newbegin in his little slide, he heated those tires up. When the track temp gets extremely hot like it is right now, it takes a long time for those tires to kind of calm down a little bit, get a little cooler. You don't really cool them off as quickly or easily. You got to drive even slower than you normally would. So these drivers really got to baby these tires a little bit more than they normally would. Being that the track is so hot, they're going to lose grip. These cars are going to get tight. They're even going to get loose coming out of the turns if they want to get on the gas a little bit harder than they expect. So it's going to be a game of who can manage your tires with this hot temperature tonight.
And currently right now, managing up front, we've seen some swappage in our top 3. It's now Zach Hall that leads this race. It's going to be Nick Crawford in 2nd, Nico Garcia in 3rd, but big surprise driver in 4th place. There's the contact. It's Nick Renner. He'll wreck Nico Garcia. And that was what I was curious about, as now more drivers pile in. They just continue to scatter. And it was the over-aggression. When were we going to see these tires start to tighten up? And Nicholas Renner proves it. It's on lap number 8 where things go awry.
Oh, and the commentator cursed a little bit. Also, Sam getting ready to give a big kudos to Nick running up there in the top 4, but just gets tight, gets up into the side of Nico Garcia, spins them around. They pretty much kept off everybody, but everybody behind them either checking up or just not seeing it, just causing more chaos behind this initial wreck.
Luckily, no one has been given required damage, but there are some hard contacts all around, as you're going to see that next level Motorsports 76 machine just trying to find an opening right into the middle. There's a little bit of space for that nose to try to stay down, but it's when he crosses over, he just gasses it up too soon. Not enough spacing and hard contact all around. And oh, what a massive ricochet off that inside wall. Luckily, it was to the back bumper and it was flat. But if it was anywhere else, I think Nick's race could have been over.
Yeah, we'll have to see, you know, how much damage that is. It's still a very, very hard hit. But yeah, like you said, luckily it was square to the back end. It didn't look like he caused any wheel damage. But I mean, this is that new aero update we were talking about. He got into the wake of Nick Crawford and it just pushed that car tight. We will see that happen quite often all night tonight, I think. When someone gets right behind someone, it will just make that car push tight and just not want to turn.
Looking at the hands, sometimes visually we're able to see, other times we're not, and it looks like for Renner able to just drive away and those true steering issues. But again, we'll have to wait and see how much aerodynamic damage there is as multiple drivers now going to go into pit road and get service done. We'll see if anyone decides to take tires. Again, quick stage we're going to have here tonight. Just 25 laps is this stage before we'll go full green flag racing without any other major bonus points to be grabbed. And it's going to be seeing Nico Garcia, Vincent Sora, John Forbes, Nicholas Renner, Thomas Green, Martin Morales, Jared Talmadge, Tyler Dangler into pit road. Ryan Noel will be gifted the lucky dog spot as he went one lap down with his hold penalty that he had to take at the start of this race. So for the double zero and for the one, they kind of luck out with this early caution because all of those early penalties in the woes have been scratched off the board. It's time for their full reset here.
Yeah, that is a very good lucky break for those guys, especially Brian Knoll, who had a massive penalty to start this race. So he's going to be able to work his way back up through the field. The question is will he have enough time? He's got 15 laps to try to get to that top 10 if he's aiming to try and get some bonus points. But it might just be smart to just chill out, let the stage end, keep your car safe, clean, and come back out with a new mindset after the stage break.
Now, do not do this in real life out there on the road, but one of our texting and driving drivers, Drew Jua, out there in the chat. I don't even know how I spun. Drew, it looks like you got on the brakes, you lost, the weight shifted, and you just spun out that way. Very much this vehicle heavily it's so easy to spin out when the weight shifts from one direction to the other and the car is just not balanced when you're steering. And looks like that's what happened to the 77 for himself as the field getting ready for this restart. We're stacking it up 2 by 2. It's going to be Zach Hall, Nick Crawford, Snowy Desert Racing teammates that are going to be at the front row. Shane Terrian going to be in third. Going to be also seeing Kyle Rochelle in the 41. I'm curious on what this 41 is going to have, as with the emergence of this new aerodynamics, the new tires, it's kind of given some drivers that we used to talk about back in the earlier seasons of the WSSR, like a Kyle Rochelle. They're giving new life and seeing drivers that were struggling with the old model having a chance to finally prove themselves once again before everyone starts to catch up on the do's or don'ts with this new update.
Yeah, this new update has definitely tried to balance the field out because everyone's got to relearn how this car reacts and drives. I know myself racing, I've thoroughly enjoyed this most recent update. It's forced everyone to find new lines around the turn, figure out where they can drive that car a little bit better, to have that clean air, to be able to get the momentum and get those passes done. So it's been a very fun thing to watch. And, you know, we're talking about Drew Drew and how he spun out, like you were saying with the weight transfer. That's a big part of this update we don't talk about. These cars have a little bit of body roll now, so they actually roll. You can visually see the car body roll a little bit going into the turns or even turning. So, but pace car's about to dive off the track, go down to pit road, and we're about to go green again.
First caution happening at lap number 8. Can we stay green until the end of the stage? Well, let's find out. It's going to be Zach Hall, Nick Crawford into the restart zone. A little bit of a stack up on the inside as people were trying to jump the start. Does not work out. Instead, it's the teammates. Quick launch for the 32 and 74 to get in line. Everyone else from third on backstage 2 by 2 as we go into turn number 1.
Drew Jua, though, taking to the inside, 3 wide again. Again, these restarts, we're going to see a lot of 3 wide racing. These guys want to make these moves early, get out of this dirty air, this big pack of racing. But, I mean, 3 wide racing from Drew Jua and the Lucky Ducks guys, also with Douglas Newbigging following suit.
They're trying to find the opening to go forward as Joshua Kanata gets a little bit squeezed as he backs out of the corner, trying to give space for Gavin Rogers, who rips the top. Ryan Bird might get a bump, and this is where the bump drafting and pack racing, you get to see there's a couple of cars tandeming up on the straightaway, trying to go as quickly as they can down into turn number 1. As Shane Terrian in third, where will he find any help? Looks like Rochelle willing to follow in suit. Behind them, they're still 2 by 2, and seeing a couple of drivers that have been having lots of frustrations around one another, having their moments. But one driver, I'm going to take a gamble and a hope at this. Hopefully I don't commentator curse him, but Manazzi Major up inside of the top 10 here early on. This is great to see by the 82.
Yeah, Manazzi Major benefiting from that first caution. A lot of drivers spun out in front of him. He was able to get through nice and clean, sitting up here nice and pretty in the 8th position, here in the top 7th position, actually, here in the top 10. Manazzi Major having a very solid, consistent first part of this race. It's good to see him up there. Still a lot of drivers making moves, even behind him, going 3 wide still. But yeah, you know, these drivers locking up bumpers on this backstretch. There's no reason to really try and pass unless you have such a massive momentum swing. So they just kind of push the car in front of them, get as quickly down that straightaway as possible, and set them up maybe for a pass at the end of turn 4.
Yeah, you're going to start to see some of those Tiltify machines showing up. Douglas Newbig and Drew Jua, they're going to be trying everything possible. That yellow line, it is possible to run down there, and the 7's proving that it works on center, on the entry point and center of the corner, but the exit, you just lose all momentum. As again, it's seeing Douglas Newbigging attempting that inside row. Be careful with your teammate, though, as Drew Jua sent up into the outside wall, and you do not want to see that type of contact for the 77. That's going to hurt him on the long run, and there's that loss of momentum for the 7 that he just does not have off the exit of the corner.
Yeah, Douglas Newbigging seems to be having some issues with the corner exit. We saw him get loose before. This time he got a little bit tight, kind of forced his teammate up into the wall there. Didn't look like he did it too much, but yeah, 77 there, Drew Jua, just a little bit too far on the outside, gets into that outside wall. Hopefully didn't cause too much damage for himself, so when he comes down pit road during the stage break, just take some tires, fuel, and not lose a lot of track position.
Starting to see a little bit of yin-yang racing around one another as Cody Reed stuck in the middle. It's Larry Engling on the outside, Ryan Kelly on the inside groove, and behind him it's the 8 of Brian McCann. All 3 yin-yang racing drivers trying to move forward as a pack and doing so quite well as Cody Reed. Michigan's a track where you can be rewarded early on for early aggression, willing to rip the top. And I feel like for Cody, this fits right into his wheelhouse of early aggression. Will reward this 25 as he's now up to 13th position. One of our biggest movers so far, up 19 spots here early on. The biggest mover, based off their qualifying position, goes to the 75 of Gavin Rogers here, 17 laps in. But got to give credit to Cody Reed. He's been doing a great job as Gavin Rogers had in trouble, but trouble even behind as Ross Tatum goes for a spin.
Oh man, Ross Tatum going for a spin, bringing out caution number 2 here in the first stage. Still only 17 laps in, and he has stopped on the inside there. Let's see if he gets his car. Nope, he's just going to tow it. Must have a lot of damage. As we watch the replay here, Ross Tatum on the outside of Nicholas Renner. Looks like he just drifts up the track and gets...
No, he just overcorrects the move that he wanted to make. He just lost all shifting movement there. And then gets caught up with Nicholas Renner as the 21 was sliding back and forth. And the 76, bad luck continues on as he gets caught up in the second wreck, a caution of the day. And here's another look at it. 21 is going to be trying to make a move of the drivers in front of him. Gets a huge run on the outside, but here's that rolling factor you were kind of talking about, Richard, of you lose the weight, it just completely sends the 21 around.
Yeah, he went to correct and he overcorrected because of that weight transfer of the car. The car kind of rolled the body a little bit, and Nick Renner just was not expecting the 21 to kind of snap loose like that. Just bad timing, at wrong place at the wrong time. Renner, more damage for himself. Hopefully not a lot of wheel damage for himself so he can get back out on track and still compete. I know he was looking forward to this race. We'll have to see how he can do, but with that tow from Ross Tatum, he's probably got a lot of damage that he's got to get repaired.
A lot of damage and too much that he wants to go in and fix, as the 21 will call it a day. It'll be our first DNF of the evening, leaving us with 33 drivers out there on track, and this gives another opportunity with us coming up to 20 laps to go before this, 20 laps into this race. It's going to be about a 3-lap shootout before the stage is over. This is a chance for some drivers to test out what new tires can do against old. As those drivers up front, they've been able to put at least 12 to 15 laps of green flag racing under their belts. This is going to be a chance of, is new tires worth it, or is it all about track position?
And, you know, I'm going to have to go with track position on this. This new aero model that they have brought out, the Dirty Air, can be a menace. And I mean, sometimes these drivers, you see a lot of them being very aggressive, utilizing a lot of that resource of these tires to get up front or try to get as far up as they can. Because what you can do, you might have a little bit less tire than the guy behind you, but if you can drive it right and predict where they're going, you can force them into bad positions with your air. You drive in front of them, it's going to tighten that car up behind you. They're going to lose so much momentum because they'd rather slow down than have that car drive up the track and hit the wall. So, I mean, yeah, here at Michigan, I can definitely see track position being way more important than new tires.
As drivers entering into tonight, some were looking for a chance of redemption to really change up how their season has been. And we've seen a lot of drivers searching for good points days, others looking for just good finishes overall. And right now up front, Zach Hall entered tonight 25th in points, has 0 playoff points, bonus points entering this evening. And what a stage win could be for this 32 that recognizes we're coming to crunch time. This is it. If you want to continue on making the playoffs and having a chance to hoist the championship once again for the WSSR VRS Cup Series, this is going to be such an important restart here, because if we get a quick caution after this restart before lap 25 is completed, that will count as the stage. And this is what's going to ramp up also for those drivers further in the back that just took tires. Do you go aggressive, or do you save the tires for the potential of just pitting for fuel after the stage is over? A lot of strategy calls can be made here. We want to also say thank you to our major sponsors that help out with the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Major one being VRS, that's the Virtual Racing School, our primary title sponsor of the WSSR Cup Series. If you're looking to advance your way in racing and go hit your top potential and fullest in virtual racing and beyond, head on over to Virtual Racing School today to get data that can enhance your racing and see where you're finding your mistakes and figure out how to get faster out there on track. Go to VRS today to get all the help that you can. Thank you so much to VRS for being our title sponsor for season 11. It's been an incredible sponsor to see attached to such a legendary racing league here on iRacing, and we can't wait to see what other sponsors want to attach their name to such a great league. As pace cars into pit road, it's Zach Hall, Nick Crawford entering the restart zone. We are green, and this will be the last restart of the stage. And Richard, let the gloves come off. It's time for the madness to begin on who will be inside of the top 10 when this stage is over.
Yeah, the gloves are off here. Next flag will be the end of the stage, whether it be the yellow for caution or the yellow for stage in. But a great start from Zach Hall. He's able to get out front really easily. Shane Terrian predicted really well, also was able to follow him up and get side by side with Nick Crawford. We'll have to see. Nick Crawford's got the draft from Zachary Hall. But Zach Hall going to dive down low, give a little bit of that arrow block to Shane Terrian. As you saw right there, his car got a little tight from that arrow, but they're still side by side for second. It looks like Nick Crawford will have a little bit more of a run, but don't look now. Gavin Rogers to the inside of Benazzi Major, trying to take 4th place away from him. Gavin has made a huge charge as he shoots down low even underneath Shane Terrian.
Trying to go for the big move down to the inside, and Gavin Rogers, Shane Terrian, this was the duel on who was going to win back in season 9. Ultimately, it was Gavin Rogers that took the crown that evening, but Shane Terrian, he was kicking himself all throughout season 9 and 10. Felt like that Michigan race was his chance to win. Here tonight could be a redemption for the 9 as he's trying to rip the top and get to the inside of the 74, but had to check up. Benazzi Major season opening. It's going to be the blue and black machines going back and forth, but don't cause too much bruising as the 82 sticks it down low on Terrian.
Those two drivers having a really good battle, and even from a high-up camera angle, it's really hard to tell those two cars apart. They look very similar, both beautiful-looking cars, but Benazzi Major able to complete the pass on Shane Terrian. Benazzi Major in the 82 to 3rd place.
Major has not been a driver that we really have looked at this season and hyped up the fact that he has a chance to make the playoffs and hunt for a good chance. These could be massive points for the 82. He entered tonight 19th in points, and it's been slowly but surely every race been stealing a couple of points, a couple of positions, and the 82 right now trying to make a statement race here early on as it's 2 laps to go in the stage, and Benazzi Major isn't done. He's trying to find a way to get into 2nd place.
He's trying to inch ever so close to Nick Crawford, get to his rear end there, get a little bit more draft and help from him, but a little bit of squirreliness behind him from Ali Fonseca. We saw that there. His rear end getting a little squirrely and a little loose. He's going to lose a position to Gavin Rogers. He got around him, but Gavin going to get right back around him to take the 5th place. But not too major. Yeah, he's had a very consistent season, inching his way up, getting the positions and the points he needs as they get to the white flag lap of this stage. It's the last lap of stage 1.
As we take this white flag, you could say, for the stage. Any flag after this will end stage number 1. Only the top 10 get bonus points. You win this stage, you get 10 bonus points. Second gets 9, third gets 8. It continues to dwindle down until we get to 10th place, where there's just 1 bonus point going to be given out, and they are going 3 wide for 9th, 10th, and 11th place currently. Ryan Bird trying to get every point possible. Brian McCann on the outside trying to rip the top, and it's Douglas Newbigin getting boxed back. Will he find that 10th place position? Huge bump trying to be given around as Zach Hall takes the stage win. The battle for 10th, it goes to Douglas Newbigin, who will take that time.
Douglas Newbigin, Ryan Bird had a huge run on him down the backstretch, and Douglas ran him all the way down to the apron, trying to block him, trying to keep the top 10, get some bonus points. But Douglas, able to defend it, will finish out in 10th place as Zach Hall takes the stage win.
And Zach just proving how important it was for track position. Qualified 3rd, got his way up front early, and stayed there all throughout the stage. Congratulations, the 32 team. Zach Hall is your stage winner here tonight for race number 9 at Michigan. As we will talk to Zach Hall after pit stops conclude. This gives us time again, once again, to shout out some of the incredible sponsors, as we want to say thank you to GTR Simulators. If you'd like to find yourself with your own racing rig at home with professional racing levels, well, go check out gtrsimulators.com. When purchasing, remember to use the promo code WSSR at checkout for 10% off of $100 or more at gtrsimulators.com. Don't miss out on your chance to upgrade your rig and race like the pros. GTR Simulators. Also want to say thank you to our trophy providers, Trophy Smack. All different trophies are always needed, from fantasy sports to iRacing, sim racing. Get your championship trophies, belts, rings, or more. Trophy Smack's got you covered, and we would love to give you an offer to check out Trophy Smack by using the promo code WSSR Smack at checkout to receive 10% off of your trophy of your wall smack purchase from trophysmack.com. Wall smack is a metal plate that you get to put your own image on. You can put the image on your wall, you can put it on a stand, on your shelf or desk. It's whatever image you'd like, and to make sure, go use that promo code WSSR Smack at checkout to get 10% off on your wall smack purchase today at trophysmack.com. Pit stops underway. We saw these last few weeks. Pit stops can be very important. Don't want to slide through your box. And Richard, there was a slide from Zach, as this could be costing him on that lead position.
Oh, Zach Hall doing exactly what you were about to say. Slides through the box. That's a very costly, second and a half, 2 seconds that you're going to lose a ton of positions for also. I guarantee he's going to lose about 4 or 5 positions. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about 4 positions, 5 positions from Zach Hall. Unfortunate to see. But also with those pit stops, a lot of those drivers that pit under the caution stayed out. A huge number of drivers, the top 11, are staying out. They did not come down pit road. They're on 9 lap old tires or more. But Nico Garcia to the lead after this pit cycle with 18 lap old tires.
And that's the one I'm concerned about. Nico Garcia, 18 laps on fuel, on tires. Yes, we've had some pit stops come out, but how well can he change this circuit around? Well, he won the stage. Let's see how he's feeling after that pit stop. We're going to go see if we can bring up the 32 machine of Zach Hall. And happy about that slide through the box, but he should be happy on the fact that he is a stage winner. We've got the 32 Zach Hall with us. Zach, congratulations on being the stage winner here at Michigan. How are you feeling? How's the car feeling? As that was an incredible run to start this race off.
That was a valuable 10 points to get. First off, I really like that. The clean air is very valuable, so I know that. Now that I'm back here, it's going to be a lot tougher, but yeah, valuable 10 points that I really needed for these next 3 races after tonight to really maybe have a shot at this thing. It's been a tough season, so we're hoping that maybe the momentum from that stage can carry over, but I know right here it's going to be tough with everybody taking track position, so we're just going to have to work our way up there one by one.
Yeah, good work tonight, Zach, getting that stage win. Like you said, 10 points are very valuable, trying to work your way up through the points to get to that 16th place cutoff line. But this far back, are you going to try to be aggressive to get up there to try to get the clean air as quick as possible, or are you just going to try to save those tires and see what kind of plays out?
Well, now that I got the 10 points, I think I'm going to try to be a little methodical and not get caught up in anything. I need a good finish to go along with that. If a win doesn't come, or if I don't get like a top 5 or something, that's all right. I just need to gather points on some of these guys. So I really just need to stay out of trouble, in my opinion, and hopefully a top 10 night at the end of this.
Well, Zach, we're hoping that you can make it through, and we'll talk to you at the end of this evening. Congratulations once again on being our stage winner this evening, and good luck on getting a good finish at the end of the night.
Thanks, guys.
As that will be Zach Hall, your stage winner from Snowy Desert Racing. He gets ready for this restart. They're going to be trying to get a lot of knowledge. Cedric Hunter is the one driver from that team that was back in traffic. Cedric Hunter, he'll be restarting in 4th on this go around, though, as Nico Garcia, once again, he's going to be about on 20 lap old tires, as well as used up 20 laps of fuel. How does the fuel situation work for the 71? What does the tire situation look like for drivers that are second back to 10th? Freshest of rubber is all the way mired back in 12th. Let's find out how this goes. Freshies versus old, as we're back to green flag racing.
Nico Garcia not wasting any time. A huge launch in the restart zone. He's going to pull Vincent Soro along with him, so they're going to take possession of that 1-2 positions for those two guys. But yeah, when it comes to the fuel, Nico Garcia is not in a prime position with the strategy because he's the only one out there with 10 more laps than the next guy behind him. So when it comes to fuel and green flag pit stops, if it gets down to that, he's going to be pitting alone, and that is detrimental for speed, for lap times. He's not going to have any drafting partners. So it's an interesting call. At least would have came down and took fuel for Nico, but they are still side by side. A little bit calmer of a start. Not a lot of 3-wide racing, but we do have some back with Ali Fonseca back where Zach Hall is, who's probably not to see that in front of him.
Yeah, not too happy about it, but there's one driver that we're seeing in the shot that I got to give high praise to. That's the 00 Brian Noel, qualified in 5th. Got told that he had to go do a drive-through penalty after all of his hard racing from last week at Bristol, and it was a actual drive-through and hold penalty that forced the 00 to go 1 lap down. Got the early caution, taking the strategy call, and from being 1 lap down, running back in 34th, back at lap 8, to now inside of the top 5. What a run for the 00. Also got to give kudos to the one machine, to John Forbes, who almost went a lap down, but there's that madness you were talking about. It's the fresh tires versus the old. Nick Crawford has moved up cleanly, but the madness just outside of the top 10. Richard, this is getting a little bit more nerve-wracking with these drivers further on back.
Yeah, these drivers with the little bit fresher tires are going to have a bit more speed than the ones who decided to stay out. But at the same time, they have the air to be able to use and block them from trying to make any moves. But we're seeing the massive dives from these newer tires go in, getting such a run. But then it kind of stalls out about halfway through the turn. And typically the guys on the outside, they're going to have the better run. It's the quicker, not the quickest way around the track, but it's the most momentum they can gain around the track. And that's, a lot of things you're seeing. A lot of people dive to the inside, getting that little bit of a run from the inside in the dive that they do. But then you got the guys on the older tires trying to utilize that air, keep those guys on fresh tires behind them. But some great racing nonetheless throughout the entire field.
Certainly is great racing. Nick Crawford officially has moved up to 8th place, but it's the drivers that are mired with John Forbes, as well as seeing Chris Stitz. They've got Drew Jua that is just hounding on their back bumpers. We right on board with the 77, who looks for that middle clean air. You're searching for anywhere on track that you can find clean air to put on that front nose. You can see in front Nick Crawford willing to go 3 wide, all the way down to the apron for a chance to go for a pass for the 74, but Drew Jua, he seems like the middle to high is where he wants to ride, as going to be seeing John Forbes try to cut off that zone.
Yeah, John Forbes cutting off that run from Drew Jua there. He's going to keep it behind him. He's still going to be side by side with Chris Stitz there. Drew Jua having that momentum and that draft on the outside is going to get him right next to John Forbes again. But Drew Jua doing a really good job. He's keeping this middle line very steady. He's keeping it very locked in with this car, and it gives him good runs coming out of the turns. Is always getting squeezed a little bit right up on the bumper of John Forbes, and Chris Stitt, or not, it was Manazzi Major right behind him. Got right up close to his bumper as well. It was a very close call for all three of them.
In a very close call on the entry of turn 3, the lap prior, Minazzi Major gave a huge push to the 77, got him slightly squirrely on the entry of the corner. Luckily, everyone kept to their P's and Q's after that. But certainly a scare for Drew Jua, and luckily getting a little bit more space as Minazzi Major backs off. Ahead, though, the battling for those top 5 positions are now underway as Joshua Kanata trying to figure out how to get by Thomas Green, but Green's got some help behind him. It's Jarrett Talmadge trying to help his longtime teammate, the 31-27. They have been teammates for as long as we've called Jarrett Talmadge and Thomas Green. And once again, they try to find the spacing to move forward together. That is now going to be Jarrett Talmadge cracking into the top 5.
That's one thing you like to see as teammates around you, because typically they're going to work together. They're going to utilize the draft together. They're going to try and find the air together and move forward together. There's no reason to race each other this early. It's still a lot of racing left. So you don't want to have that whoopsie daisy that happens and have teammates wreck each other. But they're doing a good job moving up through the field very methodically for those two and sticking together. That's what you like to see for teammate racing.
I was crossing my fingers. We've been commentator cursing everyone tonight. When he said don't want to have teammates wreck each other, we just saw Drew Jua, Brian Noel getting very close to one another's front and rear bumpers off the exit of turn 4. Luckily, no wrong is made. But if you're curious on what it's like to be inside the cockpit, here is a ride with Gavin Rogers as he has in front of him Chris Stitz in trying to find an opening on how to get by this field. He'll rip the top, finding a little bit of spacing as the 75 throttles up and is trying to find a way to get to the outside quarter panel of this 17.
Yeah, Gavin Rogers doing a really good job trying to find a little bit of pocket of fresh air, get out from behind those cars in front of him. It's going to let him be able to carry a little bit more speed through that turn because it's not going to get him tight. But you can see he's looking around trying to find that fresh air on that front nose so he doesn't have to crank that steering wheel as much. Gets a little loose in the turn there as you saw him try to save it, and he does. But still trying to make that outside work as they all tag that outside wall coming out of 2. And we got a car sideways down the backstretch.
Douglas Newbigging, we saw everyone tap the wall. Well, the 7 didn't hit the wall, but he certainly got a little bit squirrely off the exit of the corner. The 7, big slide. Luckily, no contact with anyone around him. But a yellow flag will be thrown, and this is exactly for Nico Garcia what he needed. As we'll take another look at this incident off the exit of turn 2. I'm not sure if there was contact being made to the 7 or if he just simply lost it off the exit of the corner, but Richard, it's going to be seeing it here. Nico Garcia needed this yellow. He'll get it. But for the 7 and Douglas Newbigging, the woes of spinning just continue on for himself.
Yeah, Douglas Newbigging, he's been riding that inside liner. He got loose, gets a little tap from the 41, which kind of sent him down the track, and his car just spun right around on him. So, I mean, it looked like he kind of had it saved. Just a little bit of a tap from the 41 is what kind of ended the save there. But that's the thing we've been seeing with Douglas Newbigging so far tonight is he's got that inside line on these turns, and the downside about running that inside line is that car wants to break a little loose when you start getting on that gas on the exit, and we've seen it happen with him a few times coming out of turn 2, and that time it went fully around with a little help from the 41, and but able to keep it off the wall and out of traffic. No other cars involved. So great work by everybody. And we see pit road getting busy. A huge fake out from everybody. But Nico Garcia will have to come in, and 3, 4, or 5 other cars follow.
And surprisingly, Nick Crawford follows in suit. I was not expecting to see the 74 be one of those drivers to pit again. He was part of that most recent pack that pitted, and he will not find anyone else that I was expecting to see follow the 74. Big swing up of those up front. Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, they recognize track position is king. Even with old tires, you got to fight for everything. It works out for now, but fresh tires going to be put on the 71 and Nico Garcia. Topping off with fuel, going to be a few drivers. Larry Yingling just topping off. A little bit of service also for Ryan Kelly, as the 71 and Nico Garcia had to back up in his box. But the 71, 4 tires in fuel, is going to be back out there on course. Nick Crawford also going to take 4 tires in fuel. And joining them will be Shane Terrian, Douglas Newbigging, Colby DiCarlo, Joshua Corner, Ben Keeney, as well as GT Irizarry, all going to be getting 4 tires in fuel. Another driver that's just topping off is Martin Morales back in 25th position. Richard, I mean, a lot of aggressive racing all around, but 40 laps in of 110. Vincent Sora, he's finally up front, but what a gamble that we saw there with all the faking, deking in and out on who was going into pit road.
Yeah, a lot of fake outs there when Nico was showing himself trying to go into the pits there. I mean, everyone kind of expected that to happen. I think we even figured he would go in being out as long as he was. But with Nick Crawford going in, getting tires as well, I mean, he saw the benefit that 10-lap newer tires was doing. He saw the moves and how hard people were driving those cars. So he's going to get the fresh tires. He's going to be able to drive through this field really aggressively and let that car stick to whatever lane he picks. So not a terrible move for him, but he's got to work through the traffic now. He's got to get through that dirty air and try and get through as quick as he possibly can. But for Nico Garcia, definitely a breath of fresh air for him, as he's going to be on some fresh rubber for himself and see if he can get back up through the field.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks big picture wise as a good call for Nick Crawford. The only problem is that last time that he marched his way forward, he was 12th when he on the last restart. This go around, he's going to be all the way down in 23rd position. That's 10 extra cars that he's going to have to figure out to get by. And then it's a question of, can you even get to the lead at that point after using up all that rubber? Well, to wait and see. But if you're looking for ways that you can get yourself precision and precise marketing, well, we got you covered. If you're looking to get yourself into 3D printings, we've got you covered with Sim Precision Prints. With 3D prints that are specialized for sim racing gear and one-of-a-kind pieces built with the passion and precision, go check out Sim Precision Prints today as they find themselves getting ready to be our trophy provider for this season. And as well for Crown Jewel events, get to see WSSR Cup Series Shapeship trophies. Crown Jewel events will be adding a little bit of a physical piece for the glory you're visualizing at home for your trophies. Go check out Sim Precision Prints today. And if you find yourself purchasing with anything over $50, remember to use the promo code WSSR to get 10% off. As green flag is out in the air, it's Vincent Sora as well as Cedric Hunter, both getting big bumps with a big surge and advantage. Give it to the 77, Drew Jua. Timed that restart perfectly, in the 77 immediately 3 wide back into row number 3.
I don't think that was a restart timing perfect. I think everybody tried jumping, expecting when Vincent Sora was going to go. Vincent Sora, late restart in the restart zone. It was under his control, so he can go whenever he wanted. But a great decision from him. It kind of stacks up the cars behind him, but Drew Jua able to step it out and get past a car or two. So a good move by him to keep the car out of the ones in front of him, but he's going to be 3 wide with Forbes and Talmadge here on the front stretch.
I love that blimp shot. You just saw all the movements happening in the center of 3 and 4. Zach Hall snaking his way up to the outside, seeing the 77 to Drew Jua's big advantage that he took, backfire quickly, and ultimately up front, it is Nightmare Fuel all inside of the top 5, except for one. That is going to be Cedric Hunter, the lone non-Nightmare Fuel driver that's in the top 5 currently. What a run, improving once again. This is the team that you fear, as it is going to be seeing Vincent Sora, Thomas Green, John Force, Jared Talmadge just proving their worth right now on why they're the team to watch, and they've done it week in and week out.
Week in, week out, these guys are always up front, proving that they are the nightmare of the league. You know, people you got to worry about being up front, trying to get around them as well. They are very controlling also once they get to the front. Once they get up there, it is almost impossible to get around them. Oh, car gets a little loose and sideways down on the apron on the backstretch. Oh, but he's going to keep it out of traffic, but the yellow will fly.
That's going to be Colin Carroll. That's going to be that driver that went low the 4. Big slide for himself. That's another quick caution to be thrown. And we'll see if this is going to be assisting the drivers on older tires, or will it be hurting them? As a couple of drivers not able to really march their way up through the field as quickly as maybe they were hoping to. As we take a look at what brought out this quick caution on lap 44. As it's the 0-0 of Ryan Noel on the outside. You see Gavin Rogers ahead, but the 4 stuck to the inside, trying to find a way to get an opening. And Richard, I mean, this is the nightmare of being in the middle, as we keep on saying. There's just nowhere to go. You're trying big moves, and once again, just a big wiggle and slide, and looks like another bump that sent the driver around.
Yeah, just a little loose coming out of turn 2 there, and that's the biggest thing we've been noticing. If you're coming from the bottom of the track out of turn 2 and all the way up to the wall, just the way that the elevation changes with the banking, it kind of really upsets that car, gets that rear end a little loose, step out, and that's what's sending these cars, you know, down the track trying to save it and just overcorrecting or just spinning in general down to the apron.
As we're closing in on halfway, this is a perfect time, I think, for us to check out who is our current Whiplash Sim Camp's biggest mover of the day. As drivers are faking in and out on who's going into pit road, currently it's Gavin Rogers in the 75 machine, currently runs in 9th place, up 21 spots from where he qualified. Now, when we're making the call of our biggest mover, that is based off where their qualifying position was to where they run currently. And your Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover so far in the first half is the 75 of Gavin Rogers, qualified 30th, up to 9th. There is speed underneath this machine, but that lack of qualifying pace, it certainly is hindering this 75 as he has had to work and battle his way to be inside of the top 10 currently.
Yeah, I think he's in a good position now where he can kind of not be as aggressive, just sit behind, save the tires a little bit, make moves when you can as safely as possible. He's in a good position to still try and win this race, be on the same strategy as a lot of these drivers, because that's another thing he always finds himself on the bad side, is just bad side of strategy calls. But he's up here in great position after qualifying not so well. He's made his way up through the field, stayed out of the trouble. He's got some speed. He is looking for that win here at Michigan.
As we are still under pacing, I want to take another look at our weather and start of this race. The track was very warm with ambient temperature being 82 degrees Fahrenheit, still is that, but it just dropped now down to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Still wickedly hot, still uncomfortable for the drivers, but we have dropped now 3 degrees from where this race started. And Richard, 3 degrees can be massive with the way that these cars react.
Oh yeah, I mean, any degree shift at all on this track can affect how this car reacts, especially with the tires. I mean, you're going to get a little bit more grip now that the temperature is coming down, but if that temperature drops drastically over amount of time, this car shift is going to be insane. It's going to see a lot of drivers not figure out what's going on. You're going to see a lot of them either break loose or drive a little bit too hard to get tight and get up into the wall. So we'll have to see what this temperature does the rest of this race, but I don't see it being a drastic drop as we've got a very clear sunny day, not a lot of clouds in sight.
Couple of drivers entering pit road, going to top off on fuel as we've been given the one to go. We're going this time by Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling, Colin Carroll, all going to be entering pit road. Looks like just toppage on fuel. Update on Nick Crawford, getting into the wall, having some trouble. He had to stay in pit road for extended amount of time as he was in pit road for over a minute and 17 seconds, getting repairs done, getting fuel. He's going to be all the way back in 32nd position. So that advantage of taking the tires and hope to march his way through the field, not going to be the biggest thing that helps out the 74. It looks like he was struck with the middle of the field issues. But up front, it's still Vincent Sword, Thomas Green, John Forbes, as well as Cedric Hunter, Zach Hall, your top 5, with Jared Talmadge, Joshua Kanata, Drew Jua, Brian Noel, Gavin Rogers, your top 10. It's been a fun race to call so far. A lot of quick yellows have come out. We know Green Flag Racing is right around the corner. Just got to get spaced out somehow. Is it going to be an almost wreck? Is it going to be from Natural Racing? It's time to find out as the pace car about to pull off into pit road. Thanks so much to everyone that's watching with us this evening. If you're enjoying the show, remember to hit that like button, as that helps us here in the broadcast booth get more eyes on the league, which helps the league out on potential sponsors that they can pick up. So if you're enjoying the show, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to be notified of when we are live, remember to hit the subscribe button as well. As Green Flag is out in the air, Vincent Soar, good launch on the outside. As Cedric Hunter, Zach Hall, they're trying to rip the top. It's now Nightmare Fuel, Snowy Desert Racing. Here we go. It's the duel on who's going to take the top spot, as Cedric Hunter with a big run on the outside.
Massive run for Cedric Hunter, and Zach Hall back up into the top 5. So great move for him. But Cedric Hunter challenging Vince Asora for the lead as he's on the outside, has the momentum. Can he keep the momentum through the turn? It's going to stall a little bit, but he's got the speed. not able to completely clear. Vincestor is still going to side draft a little bit, get right up next to that door, try to push some air on that rear spoiler. It's another big change we've seen, is the side draft is not as strong as it used to be. What they would do is they'd push that air on that rear spoiler of the car, and it basically puts like a parachute on the car to your outside. But we saw right there, Vincestor get that air onto Cedric Hunter, and Cedric Hunter up into the wall, gets a little tight, and he's going to lose another position, but a lot of momentum lost from the 13 machine.
Was trying to keep the momentum, but ultimately it backfires into the wall. And now for Zach Hall, he's got to back off and give more positions to more of Vincestor's teammates. Cedric Hunter, though, better hope that that damage isn't as great as it potentially could be. But any type of right side damage that you pick up, it's just going to make this car tighter and tighter, not enabling you to keep as much quick pace off the exit of these corners. And then for the Hello Kitty 13 machine, he's got to be careful off the exit of turn 2 from here on out. Vincestor, though, he's got to feel comfortable knowing, hey, I've got a teammate behind me of Thomas Green. I could just set sail, hit my marks, and I am okay, as the 31 is trying his best to find an opening to maybe pounce and attack his teammate ahead of him.
It's not just Thomas Green. The number 1, John Forbes, has found his way to the front, gets really close to his teammate, but he's going to try to make a move on Thomas Green. Teammates fighting for position here in the second place. John Forbes has got the position, though. He's got a good momentum as well. We'll see if he dives it into the turn. He will, and he should be able to clear Green, and it will be Nightmare Fuel 1, 2, 3 to control this race, but Thomas Green not giving up that easily. He's going to try and make a look. He's going to fall in behind and just push John Forbes down the backstretch.
Pushing Forbes and Sora, the duel back at it. They might be teammates all the time, but their rivalry continues to grow. Most of the time, it goes to the hand of John Forbes, who takes the victor at a lot of tracks. Here tonight, Vincent Sora, with the clean air, he is in the advantage position. We look back, though, at some of the battles that are happening further on back. The battle for 6th place is underway. Also battling that's going on for outside of the top 10. You've got Cody Reed. You've also got Ryan Byrne, a few others. Your pulse, a couple of drivers that are looking for good runs. Nico Garcia, and there's Cody Reed. Big slide for the 25. He goes to the inside, trying to keep it off that inside wall. Caution flag flies. And Michigan, one of the rare tracks where if you spin on the apron, it will throw yellow. Most tracks, that will not happen, but one of the few, I think there's about 4 or 5 tracks where if you spin on the apron, a yellow flag will come out. And Cody Reed brings out the caution here. They're almost halfway.
And Cody Reed just gets loose out of the turn 2. Again, turn 2 has been the problem child all race for a lot of these drivers, but he gets loose. He does try and save it, gets a little saved while down on the apron, but then just a little bit of an overcorrection from Reed sends the car around. And yeah, it's really odd to see a single car spinning sideways down the apron, and it brings out a caution. It's very odd to see that because you don't see it very often on these tracks when someone spins on the apron. But Cody Reed did a great job, kept that car low off the wall, out of traffic, no damage for anybody, just some really hot tires and worn out tires now for Cody Reed.
Worn out tires and potentially might be seeing pit road, as Cody has only pitted once. Means he's got 3 sets waiting for him for the rest of this race. And for us up at the booth, I think this is a perfect time for us to step away for a quick moment. Been incredible racing, up and down strategies even before the stage. Since the stage is over, we're about to see a couple of more strategies be thrown out. It's been Vincent Sora, John Forbes, Thomas Green, been your top 3 as the field goes into pit road. Some faking out, some heading in. When we come back, it's going to be talking about those different strategies. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong? We'll find out when we come back for race number 9 here at Michigan for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We'll be back right after this.
These are the VRS Dark Force Pro pedals. So it's a high-end product, stainless steel construction with an industrial aesthetic. Very, very adjustable. All 3 pedals, the pedal faces in terms of height, depth, angle are fully adjustable, and overall pedal angle is also adjustable. Now, if we look at the throttle pedal first, we have quite a unique design here. So we have a rodless spring, which doesn't quite look right to the eye, but functionally performs extremely well. Absolutely no friction whatsoever, so really nice smooth response. And we have a lot of adjustability here in terms of initial starting force, preload, and also overall force and pedal travel. So if we move on to the brake, we have similar levels of adjustability, a very high-end, heavy-duty construction. We have the blue spring on here at the moment, which tolerates a 65 kilogram maximum force. Also supplied is the optional red spring, which doubles that to 130 kilograms. These are linear springs, which is not normally how a real-life brake pedal feels. So we have this very clever mechanism on the back here, which basically turns that into a progressive, more realistic feeling, which gives you quite a decent bit of travel for low-level trail braking, and then more of a ramp up when you're really braking much harder. And we have this tie rod at the top, which is fully adjustable, along with preload, so you can really fine-tune that exact force shape to your preference. On the clutch, we have a similar level of adjustability in terms of pedal face and also the shape of the curve. So we try to emulate a clutch plate, which is stiff initially and then flattens out as the clutch gives way. So that's emulated here with a small amount of adjustability, including overall travel as well. So we're very happy with this product, and we hope you are too.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are back to Green Flag Racing. Almost a quick yellow beam brought out as drivers on old tires, some on new, back and forth racing, but ultimately it's Zach Huller, stage winner, is back out up front. Behind him, though, it's a mess, and it's a caution as drivers into turn number 3 get into one another, and some of them are our favorites. Jared Talmadge, who was inside of our top 5 before that last caution, goes into pit road and caught up in another wreck here this evening as he was squeezed in between Ben Guinea as well as it looked like Manazzi Major going into turn number 3, and caution is out, and the strategy that backfires once again for some drivers.
Yeah, strategy is really hard to play when you have cautions kind of coming out one right after another. But we're riding along here with Manazzi Major. Going to see what really happened with this wreck. On the inside, Ryan Kelly ahead of him, Samuel S. Garcia. But the 27, Jared Talmadge, right there kind of in the middle. It doesn't look like the 98 has the room, but Talmadge trying to side draft, it looked like, got down into the 97's right rear quarter panel, which sent both of them to the outside wall. Unfortunate to see, but I mean, this is what happens during cautions. All these drivers trying to be aggressive, get as many positions as they can, and just getting a little bit too aggressive and a little too close to each other.
Yeah, I mean, this is those weird moments where you talk about Michigan. Now, the fact that you can go basically 4 or 5 wide comfortably, but it's the zones on the track where things narrow up. This is when damage can go terribly. It's the exit of the corners where things squeeze, and already they're there before you even saw the accident happen. You see the quick squeeze, and Ben Keeney, Jared Talmadge, they're trying their best to stay off one another, but it's just closing distance, not enough real estate. Maybe could have given each other a little bit more room, but that's the wreck. That could be a terminal one for some of these drivers. They continue all 3 of them race on. But what a bizarre wreck to see as Manazzi Major, take it back, required damage for the 82.
Yeah, massive damage. You hate to say it. He had such a great race tonight so far to have it almost end with some required damage. But I mean, you see right here, Jared Talmadge, he's not quite there to the outside of Keeney in the 98. I mean, he's got a little bit of a run, but it looks like he just comes down a little bit, trying to give room to the Owens on the outside of Minazzi Major. I mean, it's one of those moments where you could have made the decision to back off and it could have saved all three of y'all's race. But a little aggression from Jarrett Talmadge and Ben Keeney all staying 3 wide. And this is the result of just getting a little bit too close to each other.
And the difference mindsets that some drivers have. You have those that are in the back that have been staying in the back all season long. Those that are usually up front trying to find their ways to get through. And sometimes the drivers that are that feel like they're the fastest out there on track, that have proven it based off speed and all season long. Sometimes you take the big gamble and the big move and it backfires greatly, as Jarrett Talmadge looks like victory for tonight may not be in the cards for the 27. Minazzi Major still in pit road, still require damage for himself, and also going to be seeing Nick Crawford in pit road getting service done, still dealing with a lot of damage for that 74. Ben Kinney, who was involved with that most recent incident, stays on the lead lap and is back out there on track with Colin Carroll, Colby DiCarlo, and Joshua Kanata all getting service done. Here's your race report so far. If you're just joining us, this was our 7th caution of the day. We've ran 40 of our 59 laps under green flag conditions. But Richard, I mean, it kind of feels like we haven't been seeing a lot of green flag racing, but it certainly has been a lot of enjoyment seeing the 3-4 wide racing when we do finally see that green flag out in the air.
Yeah, the green flag racing has been there. It just doesn't feel like it. Again, 7 cautions so far, 59 laps complete, just over halfway. So, I mean, that's still a lot of cautions for how, early into the race we kind of still are. I mean, we're almost 60 laps through. We still got about 50 laps or more to go. Still a lot of racing to go. These drivers can still clean this up, get some really long green flag racing, maybe get some green flag pit stops in as well. But we'll have to see. It is within the driver's hands to do that. We'll have to see what they can do. But I mean, one driver that we had saw racing up there at front, Nico Garcia, back up into the top 10, sitting in 9th.
And Nico, one of those drivers on not the freshest set of tires, but one of the fresher sets to watch out for, as he's out there on 19, going to be 20 when we cross the line. Lap old tires. The freshest set of tires are going to be drivers back in 14th position. Thomas Green, John Forbes, Gavin Rogers. That's 14th, 15th, and 16th. Those could be the drivers to watch out for on what big, bold moves. Inside, outside, find a lane, move forward. It's going to be their goal. Up front, extremely old tires for our top 3. As Zach Hall, Drew Jua, Ollie Fonseca are underway. Back to green flag action. And it's our stage winner of Zach Hall automatically takes the top point, and he's going to try to carry forward as the madness behind him is underway.
Zach Hall said he wanted to play the rest of this race methodically. He's just trying to get as many points as possible, and taking the stage win and being up front is the best you can do. But Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter up into the wall, cause a huge stack up going 4 wide. Some drivers getting really close to each other's door, but they're all giving each other enough space. They get through. And another driver almost into the back of Vincent Sora there. That was really close, and still some checkups in the back.
It's a lot of checkups of drivers just not giving enough space to one another on entry. They're just squeezing and riding on top of one another. I go around, it was seeing the 91 of Mar Morales as well as Brian Noel almost running over one another. Brian Kelly's trying to find spacing in everyone just over the radio. Just taking a deep breath because they are happy they survived that potential could have been a wreck. But this is what I was talking about, the potential of a wreck that starts to space out the field. This is the chance that the field has of staying clean and green, as up front, big passes going back and forth as Drew Jua is taking the top spot. But will it stay there as Zach Hall trying to get the back bumper and take the lead position back?
Zach Hall's got his nose there. Looks like Shane Terry is actually going to go to the low side and help Zach Hall. Not help Drew Jua, but he's changed his lanes again. He's going to get behind Drew Jua there. But Zach Hall still on that inside line, going to have a little bit of speed, but Drew's going to have the momentum. Will he just fall in behind or not? But Drew Jua heavy into that outside wall. Again, turn 2 has been the problem turn this entire race.
And that is a lot to do with, one, Drew Jua carrying a lot of speed, but Zach Hall doing what we call aero blocking. He shifted up right in front of the 77, giving dirty air. He lost all the front grip, and it just shipped the 77 into that outside wall. Hard contact, but able to keep on driving forward. Shane Terrian will take the advantage, moving up to second place. Terrian's got over a 13-lap advantage on tires over Zach Hall, but can the 9 utilize that extra little bit of grip? Behind them, the driver of note to watch out for, it's the one, it's the past champ, it's the driver who's won 3 times this season, John Forbes, up to 8th place, and he's got the freshest of tires by over 18 laps. He's on the charge to catch up to that lead position.
Yeah, John Forbes showing that he is a top driver in this league. He's on fresh tires, yes, but again, he's had to come from the back of the field yet again. Gets through the traffic, and he's up here challenging in the top 10. Looking to chase down those leaders, get back into the front again. He likes it up there in that fresh, clean air, as a lot of these drivers do, but he's got Nico Garcia just in front of him and trying to make a move to pass Ali Fonseca. Nico able to get around. John Forbes going to try to draft off and get that run and try to make a move on Ali Fonseca as well.
Ali Fonseca trying his best to hold on the outside groove as Nico Garcia going to be diving down to the inside. These two drivers have raced aggressively and almost are using each other up. That's the advantage the one wants to see. A 2-for-1 special as we'll be 3 wide off the exit of the corner. And John Forbes was patient. He saw the hard push by Nico Garcia. He lost the tires on entry. We'll see what the one has here with his tire advantage. This should be workable for a pass, but Garcia tight in the center. He has to back out of it as Stitz holds strong on the outside for a pass.
Yeah, Nico Garcia just drove it a little too hard into that turn. We actually saw going into the turn before they got there, John Forbes had slowed down a little bit. You saw Nico inch a little bit in front of him, but that gave the grip to John Forbes. His car wasn't going as fast as Nico. Nico drove in a little bit too hard, got that car tight, almost got up in Ali Fonseca, and he's going to lose another position to another driver. So, I mean, you see the difference in how these drivers attack these turns, and John Forbes doing a slow, methodical work to try to get up through this field, and now he's got his eyes set on Ali Fonseca to try and take away that 4th position from the 24.
Other drivers are trying to follow in the same strategy as the one. Going to be the 31 of Thomas Green back in 8th position. Also going to be Larry Yingling, just topped off on fuel the last time he went into pit road, back in 10th place. Larry Yingling, one of those drivers that has shown speed in the past. He's one of the veterans of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We're currently underway with Season 11, Race 9. But Larry, he grabbed the pole here. Crazy to say, all the way back in Season 2. Didn't win that day. The winner was Brian P. Johnson. But this 67, the 3-time champ, the driver with the most championships in this league, is always a threat. Maybe the most recent couple of seasons he's been under the radar, but you know Larry is willing and can get up front to battle for a top 10, top 5, and we know ultimately a win. But we got to move our sights up to the battle for the lead position because Zach Hall is under fire, and it's from Shane Terrian, the driver that almost got to victory lane here all the way back in Season 9. Got himself into the outside wall, was leading with 2 laps to go, gave up the lead, coming to the white flag to Gavin Rogers. This 9 sees a chance to win here this evening, has not been the leader yet here tonight. But I gotta say, Richard, Terrian, it looks like he's motivated. He's placed himself in a great spot. He's got the tire advantage and now has the lead.
Terrian doing a great job, and he is proving to everybody out there, if you're trying to get here into iRacing, you don't need the expensive setup. You don't need that massive, expensive steering wheel and pedal set. He is using a controller, the controller driver of this field, the only one we have. So if you're wanting to get into this, grab a controller, plug it into your computer, and do what Shane Terrian's doing and drive to the lead here in Michigan. Fantastic pass, and he's going to take that lead and lead this field tonight.
And I talked to Shane about what controller he uses, because I know there's a lot of different people that say you need the most expensive controller out there. He uses one of the cheaper options that you can utilize, one of those Power A controllers that's kind of half of what the official controllers are out there that you can purchase. So this 9 machine proving it really isn't the most expensive equipment you need. It's all about putting in the time, the effort, the dedication, and the 9 has certainly done that as he leads this race. Coming up to lap 70, it's nice to see the 9 up there up front.
Yeah, and it's kind of just a comfort thing. I mean, I agree with him. He's been racing games for the longest time on console, and I mean, for the longest time, you only have a controller for those. You don't really get a steering wheel very often for console gaming. And I mean, I used to do it also with Gran Turismo and games like that, just using a controller. Some even the NASCAR games, just using a controller and racing, and it does a really good crossover here to iRacing as well. There's still some minor things that are different, but he is doing a fantastic job using, even like you said, the cheapest option of controller to use. But now he has got the 77 of Drew Jua in his draft. But John Forbes also trying to make the move up to second place to challenge Shane. He gets ran all the way down the track by Drew Jua. They're going to stay side by side as they go into turn one.
And contact will be made. John Forbes was trying to keep the 77 high, keep him in the dirty area of the 9. Not going to be the case. Now it's John Forbes throttling up, trying to keep the momentum. Stitz, big slide off the exit of the corner, swapping back and forth. The 9 trying to snake his way to keep the one behind him. Down into turn number 3. Oh, Drew Jua, hard contact. Massive save by the 1. How did John save that? As he exits out of turn number 3, we're 3 wide, and Ollie Fonseca says, I'll throw my hat into this mix. The 24 now up to second.
Ollie Fonseca taking advantage of that situation, but John Forbes, fantastic wheelmanship right there, gets a huge shove from the 77 who dove it into the turn to hit him a little. But John Forbes able to keep that car completely under his control, and he is getting right back around Ollie Fonseca and saying, no, this second place is mine. I want to try to challenge for the lead.
Ollie Fonseca trying to go with the crossover move to the outside. Did not work out. He lost a little bit of grip there when he got crossed over by the 1. He'll let the back off for now, and Zach Hawley stuck just watching that yellow machine in front of him as they go back and forth. Terrian takes the advantage, up 4/10 over Forbes, but you got a sense that slide, it takes a lot of that advantage away from the 1, but he still has a huge advantage, over 10 lap fresher tires than the 9 of Shane Terrian. But that slide might have just equaled up every advantage Forbes thought he had.
Yeah, Forbes' massive advantage lost. He's got a good draft still to build up on Shane Terrian, but it's really hard to tag that draft here at Michigan. But he's still got it. He can still get in behind, get that little bit of drag reduction, but it's still a hornet's nest back behind with Nico Garcia for the race for 8th place and on. I mean, he's stuck in the middle of a lot of cars. Vincent Sora behind him and Chris Stitz ahead of him. Stitz gets a little bit breaking into the turn,
Nico.
and it looks like Nico a little loose.
He keeps it in front of him. How did the 71 get that save? I believe that was some netcode that hit the 71 with that big slide. That reaction is not a normal reaction that you see, but Nico keeps it off the wall. Frustration, obviously, as he was running back there in 11th place. Here's a replay of what happened to Garcia. It's going to be into turn number 1 where we see the big slide as he was trying to set up the corner. He'll have Vincent Sora on the back bumper, but Richard, I mean, big save after big save, and here's another one to add to tonight's collection.
Yeah, fantastic save from Nico Garcia. You hate to see it. He's had a rough start to the race and then had a great recovery. That is a massive net code, though, from the 14 of GTA Rizari. I mean, you can fit almost an entire car between those two. And that's the downside about internet racing is it's like iRacing expects those two to come together, but they expected a little bit too much. But we do have a caution on the track.
Caution is out, and it's the 16 back in 28th place of Joshua Kanata, and it is simply just a self-spin by the 16, a rarity to see, as he was driving all on his own, and then it just looped around off the exit, tried to race it out, and didn't work out. Dead caution will fly. As you'll see Kanata, I mean, he's all by himself, Richard. We saw all those incredible saves. These tires do like to fall away at times, and it looks like for the 16, he's finally went around.
Yeah, just getting loose out of turn 2. Like I said, we've seen a lot of it in that turn, and he tried to save it just a little bit, overcorrecting there and just sends it around there into the apron. But we've been seeing it all night. Cars getting sideways on the apron, bringing the caution out, and that's what's happened. These tires are getting a little worn out. This track, as hot as it is, you're going to see this a lot more often. A lot of guys get loose all by themselves just because of the angle they're coming out of the turn.
And you might be wondering on how he just snapped on his own. Big reason why he saved it. Once he got on the apron, though, that is not a flat surface. Hit the bumps, and He was just constantly trying to save it. Here's a big changing moment for some. Do you pit or do you stay out? Some drivers still have a set of tires in their pit box to work with. Some have 2, some have 3. And most of the field at least has 1 set still in their back pocket to work with. Majority have 2 sets to work with. And this is going to be important. We've seen John Forbes. He has been the master at making passes into pit road. I still don't know how he gets the advantages into his box in leaving sooner than everyone else. But this one machine, he's hoping that this one pit stop could get him the lead to get by Shane Terrian, as they're going to be lined up nose to tail in their boxes. It's going to be a race off a pit road between the 9 and the 1. Who can get the cleaner launch? It's going to be a little bit of wheel spin for the 9. Forbes, though, stays in. Vince, he stays on the inside boxes and goes straight. Instead of getting back out on track, he takes the advantage of being able to drive through cars, and going straight gives the advantage to the 1. But they were not the winners of that pit stop. It goes to Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly. Yingling Racing gonna be taking the chance of just 2 tires for the 67 and the 3.
Yeah, the 2-tire stop might be a really smart call for those guys. They're going to get out front. They're going to have that nice clean air, and they're going to be able to control the wake behind them. They're going to be able to put the aero block on the drivers behind them, even on the fresher tires. We also saw during those pit stops, we saw 2 drivers drive through their pit box. Zach Hall, again, struggling with these pit stops, drives through his pit box, has to back up. And even Nico Garcia, a huge slide through his box, had to back up quite a bit to get into his box as well. But Shane Terrian, trying to win the race off in front of John Forbes, gets a little loose, and that's what lost him a lot of his time. But John Forbes able to basically drive through the car, because that's just kind of how it's programmed with the you're in the boxes. But a great pit stop from Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly taking the 2-tire strategy. We'll have to see how well that plays out for them in the longer run.
Great calls all around. And let's get a talking point from the drivers up front, as it is going to be Larry Yingling, the driver who leads, as we are given the 1 to go marker. Let's talk to our leader currently on that strategy call decision as we bring in the 67 of Larry Yingling. Larry, it's Sam and Richard up at the booth. You took 2 tires, same for Ryan Kelly, to your outside groove. How is the car feeling? How are you feeling about this 2-tire call?
Well, on equal tires, it feels good. Just track position means a lot. I actually never ran just rights yet since this update, so what a perfect place to figure that one out. Good thing I'm in clean air, or at least the first part, and I got a teammate next to me.
It's great to have a teammate on the same strategy with the 2 tires. You guys are going to do everything you can to control that air and put some aero blocking on those faster guys on fresher tires behind you?
Yeah, but still gotta be smart. It's not the end of the race, and we'll definitely have to see how 4 tires. I expect it to be a lot better for them.
Well, Larry, we're going to send you back to your team. Good luck on this restart. We hope to talk to you at the end of the night.
Thank you, sir.
That is your Yingling Racing driver of Larry Yingling, the 3-time champ. Currently runs in first. His teammate, the 3 of Ryan Kelly, to his outside. 4 fresh tires, all waiting behind these top 2. Who will be the better advantage? Is it clean air? Is it fresh rubber? It's time to find out, as green flag is back out in the air. Lap 79 is now underway of 110. We know that these drivers, they're going to hope that this race can stay green, but we've seen a caution every 2 to 5 to 8 laps. It's been kind of the durations that we've seen these cautions come up. How aggressive are drivers willing to be? Is there even any patience left out there? Richard, it looks good up front, but we know the middle of the field is where the chaos is rumbling.
Yeah, the middle of the field is where the chaos always tends to happen. We got Douglas Newbigging there up into the top 10. He is really aggressive with driving down to the inside lane of these turns. Vincent Sora taking a page out of Douglas's book and doing the same thing. But Douglas Newbigging being very aggressive, trying to get his way through this field as well. But a great start from the Yingling Racing drivers of Larry Yingling and Ryan Kelly, able to get out, control this race from the restart with John Forbes behind them. So they're going to be able to control a little bit of the air, take up more than just one lane as well, kind of give John Forbes a little less racing surface for clean air to get around. But Douglas Newbigging making some major moves, trying to keep the 14 to the outside, but the 14's kind of got to force the issue, take it 3 wide, and Douglas Newbigging still stuck on that inside lane.
trying to find the spacing. Where can you put yourself? Middle of the lane, you got chances, you got opportunities. Keep your foot on the throttle and hope you don't go to that outside wall. And you make a couple of really good passes. Currently up front, Ying Ying drivers of Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly still 1-2 with Shane Darian in third. Fastest lap given to Larry Yingling, who just put 2 tires on. So I think he might have gotten the word. That clean air is quick. 2 tires work, and we've got ourselves 30 laps to go here at Michigan. You got to be careful, though. You got to pace yourself. Yes, you were quick, but that is 30 laps that you got to make sure those left sides also survive as much as the right sides that you just put on. Shane Darian, he's now going to be up in the 3rd position. He's finally on the same strategy as some of these other drivers. He's not at a disadvantage. He is on equal footing, and the 9 looks quick. John Forbes, he attempted to make some passes on the 3 machine. It really didn't work out, Richard, but I'm curious for the 1. Where is his aggression level at? Because he was looking like he wanted to pounce early. It backfired. It looks like patience might be the key for the 1 right now.
Yeah, I think John's just going to play the patient game. He knows there's a lot of laps left of this race, so he's just going to try to play it out, save those tires. He's got the freshest tires out of those drivers up front. I mean, Larry Yingling and Ryan Kelly, they are driving extremely fast on those 2 tire stops, but typically when you take those 2 tires, it helps rotate that car. You've got that outside tire grip that they did on those right sides. It lets that car kind of grip and turn itself around the turn, but the downside, you're putting more stress on those tires, so it's going to wear those out even quicker. So the 2 of Ryan and Larry, they've got to save those tires, but I think John Forbes is going to sit around and wait for them to kind of burn up those resources and then start making his path up front and making the moves.
Also the big thing for John Forbes, he's waiting on Shane. Shane's now starting to pounce on Ryan Kelly and going for that big move up into 2nd place. Also seeing some other drivers willing to just ship it on the outside. There's the 8 of Brian McCann. Where can he go? And then as well behind them, it's the teammates trying to race as a tandem. Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter doing their best on the straightaways to do some tandem driving. But Brian McCann, Ying Yang driver as well. He went with the opportunity to take 2 tires. Didn't get as much track position as he was hoping. But the 8 runs in 11th, and he's trying to follow in suit what his 2 teammates ahead are doing right now, as McCann on the outside trying to find some big runs to get by the likes of Vincent Sora. But it looks like for the 8, he doesn't want to go down low. He wants to stay on the outside groove.
Yeah, that outside groove is going to have a little bit more speed throughout the turn. You have a lot less wheel input to get that car to turn. Now, the downside is you are putting a lot more speed and stress on the tires out there, but he's getting the momentum down the straightaways. Lost a little bit of ground to Vincent Sora there, and yeah, he might not have gained all the positions that his teammates did, but he definitely gained a lot more from where he was originally. So still a good call by him, but he is around all these drivers on 4 tires, so he has got to save a little bit more than what his teammates are up front, because it's going to be a rough time when it gets down to the tires just kind of shipping away from himself as he's under pressure from Gavin Rogers behind him. But Douglas Newbigging making moves, getting around Chris Stitz and challenging Thomas Green, but he's still side by side with Stitz up here in the 7th and 8th position.
31 of Thomas Green. He is in a little bit of trouble. Hard contact off the exit of turn 2 as Ali Fonseca puts the block. And a lot of dirty air that forces him into that outside wall. Able to keep pace still decently well with Chris Stitz giving the bump on the front stretch, but I am nervous for Thomas Green. Where will his steering be as Douglas Newbigging with another huge launch to the outside. Stitz rips the top, and the 31, not enough draft assistance that he would like, as he's seen his teammate Vincent Sora rip the top and get by this 31 team.
31 getting passed by Stitz and Sora, but also Douglas Newbigging decided to take the momentum and shoot to the inside lane again, taking it 3 wide. We have seen Douglas aggressive all night long. Now, it was turn 4. He hasn't gotten loose out of that turn yet, but we're getting into turn 1 and 2. This is where the issue we've seen all race long. The driver's getting loose out of the turn, and Douglas down to the inside lane again, trying to make some moves as we're riding it back here with Zach Hall, watching the drivers in front of him. He's going to fall behind Cody Reed. Followed Cody around, try to make some moves as well, with Gavin Rogers just ahead of him.
And I've been watching this kind of battle happening. Zach has been doing the same move for over and over again, and you know, we're starting to see a little bit of insanity going on for Hall. He has still not found the momentum that's been quick enough to get in front of Cody Reed, who continues to rip the top, get the momentum, and once again, Hall not able to get enough space and speed to get by the 25. He's just tearing up these tires every time he dives to the inside. Here's a cockpit view of Hall as he is one of the few drivers that are out there downshifting into 4th gear, then shifting back into 5th. This is one of those options. We've seen a couple of drivers going with the shifting approach. Others are staying in 5th. And this late into the race, you already know what style you want to take into this later run. Hall is continuing to go with the shifting move.
Yeah, a shifting move is definitely what it does. It helps get not utilize as much brakes as the guys in front of you that aren't doing it. It's giving what we call engine braking to the car. And, you know, it sounds odd, but when you get on the brakes, you're heating the tires up, believe it or not. And it's kind of helps save the tire heat, give a little bit more life into them. And it helps that car rotate a little bit better without having to use any brakes. So he's doing a really good job methodically going through the field. But Nico Garcia, as we jump to him, he is underneath Cedric Hunter, and he's trying to make a surge back to the front again as well.
Nico Garcia, that big netcode moment with GT Rosari able to save it and tackle and go forward. 71 qualified second, was up front early and gonna move right in front of Cedric Hunter, getting that late move and hope to get a little bit of a helpful bump. As Garcia's got to be careful with these late moves. Yes, there are great rewards, but the rewards are not worth the risk as the 71 goes back to the top, trying to build a momentum to attack to go after Zach Hall. Up front, Larry Yingling still leads the way. Shane Terrian has caught up. They are about a half a second ahead of Ali Fonseca and John Forbes, and Forbes still in 4th. But the one is starting to show signs that he might want to start going forward here quickly, as we are about to be having 20 laps to go here in Michigan.
20 laps to go as they cross the line right here, and Shane Terrian knocking on the door again of Larry Yingling, trying to make the move to get back out in front. He wants to be able to get that fresh, clean air and be able to control this race, but he's got to get around Larry right now, and Larry still on those 2-tire strategy call that he did with Shane on 4 fresh tires and Ollie Fonseca behind them. But John Forbes, you know, he's got to start wondering, when is it time to start moving forward? Because again, passing isn't easy here. You've got to get the run. You have to carry that momentum through the turn. And when these tires start to wear out more, you got to hope that you've got some more resource and some more life into them. Shane Terrian gets really close to Larry Yingling, gets a little squirrely out of the turn, but they stay off, and Shane looks like he'll be able to lead that lap, and now he is challenging to take this lead.
That closing rate, I think, was a lot bigger than Shane was expecting, trying to keep Larry to the outside, get a little bit better momentum up the exit of the corner. He's hoping for the 9 as he keeps a couple of grooves off that yellow line. They'll stay side by side. Advantage to be given to Larry Yingling. Has to be a huge dive bomb slide job move by the 9 with all this battling. No, trouble in the back. Caution is out. And it's Nick Crawford as well as Justin Malarkey. Hard contact to the outside wall. And for the 9, I believe he was ahead. And Shane Terrian was ahead for the lead there as the time of the caution came out.
Shane Terrian will have the lead for the restart, so great work from him being able to get that nose out in front. But massive contact from Nick Crawford and Justin Malarkey as we watch the replay now to see kind of what transpired here. Again, looks like it's 1 and 2. They're just 3 wide with Martin Morales a little bit. Nick Crawford gets a little bit of a run. I don't think he did not realize he was not clear. Slides to the inside. It looks like Justin Malarkey tried to get through before he came down in front of him, but not enough speed. Just gets into the left front of Nick Crawford, sends him around, and Justin Malarkey up to the outside wall.
Yeah, it was a mix and mingle for Martin Morales. A little bit down to the inside. Crawford a lot more aggressive, trying to cover off that 91. Doesn't work out, and instead, Justin Malarkey is a victim, just watching the chaos ahead of them. Both drivers look for the same real estate. Doesn't work out. Contact made, and Malarkey, that contact here is what ultimately will send him most likely calling it a night, and it has been a night as he has left the server. Going to be the 4th driver to call it an evening is Malarkey, joining the ranks of Munatsi Major, also Nicholas Renner and Ross Tatum. As pit road getting busy for some, others stay out. Shane Terrian stays out. Larry Yingling stays out. Ollie Fonseca, John Force, Ryan Kelly, Thomas Green, Vincent Sorg, Gavin Rogers, Brian McCann, Nico Garcia, Samuel Garcia, as well as Brian Noel. Going to be also seeing the likes of Colby DiCarlo and Joshua Corner all stay out. 15th on back. They're taking the gamble. They're taking the chance. Take some freshies as we are closing in on 15 laps to go. Richard, this really was the last time you could take a pit stop strategy call, and I'm liking the fact of those that are entering pit road now.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting entrance into pit road. A lot of drivers were faking going in, and then a lot of scrambling to figure out who was going to stay out and who was going to go in. But I mean, you have the top, what is that, 14 drivers still on 17-lap-old tires. Everybody else behind them going to get some fresh rubber to be out on that track. I mean, they're going to have the pace. They're going to be able to make those aggressive moves, those dive bombs into the turn and make that car stick. So it's going to be really interesting to see what these drivers can do. I say give it about 5 to 6 laps of aggressive driving and they might plateau a little bit because then the aero is going to be a huge factor again. But Shane Terrian up there in the lead. He decides to stay out in the lead. He's got that clean air. He's got control of this race, and he thinks that is way more important than getting some fresh tires.
Shout out to former driver out there on track, as well as former commentator here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Hunter Hayward, out there in chat saying, been a great race so far. Miss you guys over at Freaky Fast. We miss you as well, Hunter. We can't wait to see you back out on track one of these days, as it has been an incredible one so far. A lot of wrecks. If you're just joining us, bring up our race reports. You can see exactly how it's been so far. We've ran 95 laps to this current moment. We've had 9 cautions. 72 of the laps have been ran under green. We've had 11 lead changes, and it has been a lot of ups and downs. A lot of strategy calls is what elevated these lead changes to happen. We've only had less than a handful of passes being made under green flag conditions. That clean air has been super strong. Here's also some other big changes that have been happening. The air temperature has dropped 1 degree from where we started, as we are now down to 81 degrees Fahrenheit for air temp. But the track temp, that's where the big change has been. We started out this race as 120 degrees Fahrenheit. We're now down to 115 degrees. The wind's still been bouncing from 5 miles per hour to 8 miles per hour. I think that's going to continue to shake back and forth. But Richard, 115 degrees now. You got that little bit of extra grip. You got that little bit of extra grip with pitting now. This is that surge time.
Yeah, it's definitely time to surge. You're going to have the grip to be able to drive this car into the turn a lot harder than you have the rest of this race. I mean, that is a pretty drastic change that we saw from the 126 earlier in this race. That is a 11-degree difference. So the driver's going to be able to drive a little bit harder into these turns, let that car stick, and just drive through the turn. Pace car down off the racing surface and into pit road as we get ready to take the green flag.
If you're out there in chat and you have the ability to do so, type in the chat, who do you think's going to win tonight? Because we are back to green flag action. 15 laps to go. And it's Shane Terrian, Larry Yingling, John Forbes, Ollie Fonseca, hoping to see who can be in the lead position here late. Terrian, great launch for himself, but Forbes trying to get to the outside. Thomas Green doesn't want to just linger. He's trying to push up into 4th, but watch out for the fresh rubber. Hull back in 13th place. That machine is going to do everything in his power to close in on these top 5 as quickly as possible.
Oh, and it is chaos almost back in the field with newer tires as GT Irizarry takes it 3 wide. A very close move from him. But Gavin Rogers, some life into his car, some speed. He's able to make the pass around Ryan Kelly. He might have saved enough tires to be able to make a surge to the front here as well as he's looking to the outside of Thomas Green, following Ollie Fonseca into turn 1.
It's the pinch, it's the hold, it's to find any way to get to the outside lane, but only going to be finding just a few that can. As Shane Terrian and John Forbes continue to bicker back and forth for the lead position. Ollie Fonseca just seeing a wave of cars in his mirror, seeing Larry Yingling, Gavin Rogers, where can you go? And we'll have another chance to see as drivers are scattering and wrecking on the backstretch. We got another caution underway.
Martin Morales seems to be the center of this one, but this is going to help some of those drivers on the older tires that made some early moves in this run, and they're going to have a higher up start than what they did, but the new tires also starting to make their way through the field. As we watch a replay here, see what happened. There are 2 rows of 3 wide racing. We see Cody Reed out there clears that, sits on the outside. Joshua Kanata here kind of backs out not to take this 3 wide. Ryan Bird on the inside.
Cody Reed. Cody Reed's the driver we want to hop on board with here. As you're going to see spinning and wrecking. He was trying to find an opening to keep his high-speed momentum, and he wrecks off the center. And then Kanata spins around and a few others. There's about three wrecks that go on throughout the backstretch. But here's what the initial catalyst of this wreck is. It's the 25, going to be ripping the top. He's going to get a huge run. And like you said, Richard, they're 3 wide, almost 2-3 rows deep. with a 25, trying to do a quick form from the top rope to the bottom, but GT holds his lane. 25, just too much speed, and then everyone else starts spilling around him.
Yeah, Cody Reed had a massive momentum surge there off the turn, had the run, and they were just 3 wide. He was not expecting GT Irizarry to be as slow as he was after he got into a little bit of contact with the number 2 there of Joshua Corner. But those two get together a little bit coming out of the turn. Cody Reed tries to shoot to the inside, but just not quick enough to do it. Gets into the back of Irizarry, up into the wall, and then you see Stitz spinning, and that's actually what brings out the caution, was Stitz spinning in the backstretch.
There's Kanata, Morales, and luckily for all these drivers, no contact with the outside wall. They'll continue forward. A couple of them still have a set of tires in their back pocket to work with. We'll see if they get back out there on track as Cody Reed sits in pit road trying to get damage repair done for himself. Ben Kinney able to get his lucky dog spot. The 98 will be back on the lead lap. And also going to be Jared Talmadge in pit road. Nick Crawford in pit road. Still, they're trying to salvage whatever tonight can give them. But we look at the drivers that pitted. Zach Hall. Richard, this is not a good sign. We were green for just about a lap and a half, 2 laps. And Hall did not move up a single position. He still is in 13th place.
Yeah, Zachary Hall has got to get a little aggressive. Laps are ticking down. We are going to be under 10 laps to go when we take this green flag. So I think it's about time to hit that go button. You've got the tires, you've got the resources. Utilize them, get around these cars. But also, like you said earlier, he's just trying to be methodical about this. He wants as many points as he can possibly get while also being safe. He can't have an issue where he gets wrecked out. So he's got to be safe about it, be smart. And if he gets 2 or 3 more positions, I think that'll be a win for him tonight.
As Shane Terrian going to be the control vehicle. He'll choose the top over the radio. It will stay there. John Forbes will be on the inside for the 1. Ali Fonseca going to be on the inside. Larry Yingling going to be on that outside row. Row number 3, though, I think that's the more intriguing row in my eyes. You got Thomas Green, who's been getting into the outside wall, and he's been dealing with damage. But Gavin Rogers has been quietly just sneaking his way forward all this evening, as he is still our biggest mover at this time, up 25 positions as he qualified back in 30th, now up to 5th. He's hoping that he can continue his way forward and maybe grab another win and win once again here at Michigan. He did it back in season 9. The last time we raced here, it was between the 75 and the 9. Will Shane Terrian get his redemption winning here at Michigan? Or will he see heartbreak once again? Richard, as we're coming up to 10 laps to go, any final thoughts before we go into this restart?
I think it's time to hit the go button for all these drivers. If you have any kind of life in those tires, use them. There's no reason to not use them anymore, and nobody's really going to pit again. But, I mean, you got fresh tires behind you. If you're on old tires, you have got to find every bit of life in the rest of the tire that you have left. So it's time to make those big moves, but try not to be the one that causes the caution. You don't want to ruin someone else's or your race with less than 10 laps to go.
Find the balance, risk to reward. Is it worth it? Or do you think this is going to help you in the big picture? Or are you just thinking about, if I win here tonight, there's a playoff berth ahead of me? Shane Terrian, John Forbes, Larry Yingling, but I think all the pressure of those that are up front in the eyes of the 24 of Ali Fonseca. He's outside looking in the playoff picture book, and he is back to green flag racing. The 24 had a lot of speed last week at Bristol. Got caught with going too quick and jumping the start. Went a lap down. This is another chance for Ollie here late, where he is there. Now keep your nose out of trouble and get a good finish.
Yeah, he's got to keep his nose out of trouble. No restart jumps here for Ollie. A rough one, but looks like Gavin Rogers got to the wall. Thomas Green is going to spin, and that's more than likely. There it is. The yellow is out again for these drivers.
And it was just a little bit of a beat and bang, getting the 31 loose, and he tried his best to keep it pointed straight, but not going to be the case. And for Hall, for everyone else from 12th on back, another restart, quick yellow. That is more laps a tick away, and your chances of gaining positions fade quickly. But this really puts a lot of pressure, takes a lot of pressure away from, I would say, Shane Terrian, Larry Yingling. They're going to be the front two, and this cools off those tires even more, and the older tires have a lot more life now back into them for this next restart.
That has been the benefit of these cautions back to back to back. These drivers on the older tires, it's allowing them to cool them off. So it's giving them a little bit of an advantage, a little bit more life into those tires that are able to extend it just a little bit longer. It's going to give them the advantage to stay in front of the fresh tires just maybe that extra lap or two longer than expected. So that could give them that chance to make that move, keep that win, or keep that top 5. But unfortunate to see for Thomas Green as, well, the guys got to re-rack again as another caution.
Talking about redemption, talking about the last time we raced here back in season 9, they had 8 cautions that day. They finished out their race in inside the regulation green-white checkered. Shane Terrian had the lead at the restart. How much pressure do you think this 9's feeling? Maybe he's not thinking about it at all, but is there any time that maybe a driver thinks about past races, past scenarios you've been in, where you've made the great mistake that maybe threw away your chance to win? Curious if the 9 is feeling that pressure of, I do not want to do the same mistake I did back in season 9 where I just threw my car into the outside wall, coming to the white flag, and just gave the win to Gavin. Cannot do that again here tonight.
I think one of the biggest things that drivers lie about is what's on their mind. They say they don't think about races prior, but they know it is always on their mind. If they remember it, it's going to be there. And I guarantee you, he's thinking about it a little bit. He's on the edge of his seat. He might be sweating a little. He's got the lead, and it's redemption time. He said it slipped away from him in season 9. He has a chance to take it back here again, but he's got still a lot of fast cars behind him as well that are also trying to take this win away from him. The lucky thing is he's starting outside Larry Yingling, who is still on that 2-tire strategy. He's doing a great job keeping those tires fresh as well, but Shane Terrian has done a very good job being in control of this race so far. We'll just see if he can close it out finally.
For Shane, that win or potential win was gut-wrenching on the fact that he has not won since season 8. Back when we were racing the ARCA cars that turned into the Gen 4 cars, that was kind of a mistake that happened. That was back at Kansas. Season 8, that was March 27th of 2024. It's been over a year since this 9 machine has won in the WSSR. You know that this was one that he wants. He thought he was going to get it back in season 9 a couple of times. He was caught up in a few wrecks there. He was caught up in a few wrecks last season. This 9 knows tonight could be the night that he finally could take those shackles off and be proud that he's back into the victory lane. But there are a lot of hungry wolves behind him, and you've got Larry Yingling in second, the 3-time champ, who's trying to position himself to become a 4-time champion in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. You got Ollie Fonseca. A win could put him in the playoffs and move that bubble spot a little bit more deeper into the groupings of drivers. But then you've got John Forbes, the past champ, who runs in 3rd on this restart. I mean, this one has been dominant. He already has 3 wins. He's number 4 in his grasp. Richard, again, we get ready for another restart. This is going to get fun to watch.
Yeah, I'd like to say that that's the last yellow we'll see, but I mean, 7 laps to go, another restart, cars bunched back up. It is possible to see another one. Yellows breed, or cautions breed cautions, as they like to say. But the question is how's Shane Terrian going to take this restart? Is he just going to fire off as soon as he gets in the restart zone? Is he going to wait to the end and try to stack everybody up behind him? I mean, it's a big decision to make, and it's not the easiest to make all the time, especially on a track where drafting helps and the momentum can really shift out of turns.
Well, if the race distance was the same as the last 3 times that we ran here, Shane Terrian could have won this race by now. But we added an extra 10 laps to Michigan to add a little bit more of strategy calls and different what-if scenarios if we stayed green. Terrian's got himself 6 laps to try to stay ahead. Or will we get another quick caution that could send us to overtime? It's time to find out. Race 9 of season 11 of Michigan is back underway. Terrian, Yingling, they roar down into turn number 1. And here we go. Let the chaos reign as Terrian, he's side by side with Yingling, who's going to ship it down into turn number 1.
Larry Yingling going to ship it into turn 1, but he's not clear. He can't move up in front of Shane Terrian. Shane Terrian is going to have that run, but Larry Yingling able to stay in front of John Forbes. It's going to slow Forbes up. It's going to allow Ollie Fonseca around, Gavin Rogers around, Vincent Sora around. John Forbes losing a lot of positions, but Shane Terrian still in the lead as there is still chaos in the back as they are 3, almost 4 wide in the middle of the field.
Our top 3 in points were 3 wide for a quick moment, but it's going to be Vincent Sora on the inside groove, finally showing his cards down into the battle for third with Ali Fonseca. And here comes Nico Garcia. Where did the 71 come from? As he's now got a chance to try to rally his way into the top 5, but it's still Shane Terrian. 5 laps to go. He's seeing the battle back in his mirror. It's the 2 most winningest drivers when you look at championships in the WSSR VRS Cup Series, battling for second. And Ali Fonseca poking his nose into the fight as they'll stay 2 by 2, at least 3 rows deep.
Ali Fonseca not giving any room to John Forbes. John Forbes is going to muscle his way up the track as they bounce off each other's doors. But John Forbes not able to get the momentum, but is going to have the drafting help. Nico Garcia falling in behind. He's going to draft up also. Try to get the run. Gavin Rogers. Oh, and a caution on the track.
And it's Cedric Hunter in the 13 going around on the front stretch. And in a blink of an eye, we go from watching the battle inside of our top 10 to we might be seeing overtime quickly here. 4 laps to go. I believe that we will not have a restart happen quick enough. We will be heading to overtime. We got 3 attempts if needed, but here's what brought out our caution. Ryan Bird, Cedric Hunter, something we haven't talked about all race long. It's the curve straightaway that strikes here that takes the 13 around.
Yeah, the curve straightaway on the front stretch there that you see at basically every single NASCAR track we go to, NASCAR Oval, but Ryan Bird just not keeping the same. I mean, Cedric Hunter's on the outside there. He has to follow the wall. He's got nowhere else to go. He's pinched up behind GT Irizarry, and Ryan Bird comes up the track and just does not follow the track. Looks like actually Cedric Hunter comes down just a tad bit into Ryan Bird from that angle, but not a heavy hit for Cedric Hunter. I mean, if he's got some tires, now's a good time to at least come in and take the last set of tires you got, because you're already in the back of the field. He's got, a heavy field to follow and get around.
Might as well give it your best try, as field's going to get stacked up, going to get ready for this upcoming restart. We're not expecting anyone that's up front to come into pit road. You're kind of already made your bed. You're going to lay in it. Those that pitted over 14 laps ago have not been able to move forward an inch. They are still trapped. Zach Hall able to gain only 1 position over that last green flag little surge that we had. He's up to now 11th place. And that is not a good sign for those that took the chance and the gamble to take tires. It is up to those that are inside of our top 10. They are going to be the ones that are fighting for this win and this lead. Ultimately, I think it's our top 3 that are going to be really fighting for the win, unless all 3 of them wreck themselves. But we have entered into overtime officially. For overtime rules, if this is your first time being a part of iRacing's overtime rules, it is pretty simple. We've got ourselves a green, white, checkered. It's going to be a 2 laps to go. When we go green, if we have a caution that is thrown, if we have a yellow flag caution thrown on the first lap before we take the white flag, that will send us into overtime attempt number 2. If we take the white flag and we get to 1 to go, this race is official, and it's all about who crosses the line first. That's when chaos can happen. No yellow flags will be thrown in that white flag. And Richard, that's when the most chaos is bound to happen, especially with some of the bumps, some of the rubs, and the using up of one another that we've seen so far here tonight.
Yeah, once that white flags drop, it is basically gloves off. These drivers won't give anybody an inch. They're trying to get those last positions. And I mean, there's a lot of drivers that use it to be a little more over aggressive, give someone the bump, give someone a little less space. But I mean, it's the last lap. You're trying to race for every position possible. But it's going to be a wild restart for the rest of this race. This could potentially be the last restart. We still have 2 more overtime chances if a caution does come out before the white flag. But this track is big enough. We can very well see another caution come out and see more overtime attempts.
How many more will we need, or is this going to be it? It's been a lot of great racing action we've seen so far. Sadly, we went into the double digits of cautions being thrown here tonight. Michigan's kind of known to that potentially happening, and with the way the new aero system works, it's kind of made things a lot more difficult. We want to say thank you to all those that have been watching with us. We've seen kind of a surge, of drivers trying to get up front. We've seen a surge in numbers of people joining in and seeing the WSSR VRS Cup Series. For some, it might be your first time. If it is, welcome. This is our Wednesday night series that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as this is only race 9. We've got 3 more races left in the regular season to figure out who will be the 16 drivers that make it into the playoffs. If you've been enjoying the show so far, we'd love it if you'd hit that like button. And if you want to be here for next week's race, remember to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to make sure you're notified when we are live. We give you coverage of 2 races a week, as we've got the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series on Tuesday, the WSSR VRS Cup Series on Wednesday, and at the end of the month, we are back to Monday night coverage. We got a brand new league joining with us here on the Freaky Fast Broadcasting brand. It is the Trinity Racing League, as they will be testing out on the Xfinity car. We haven't covered Xfinity cars in a while. We're excited for it. Majority of the drivers that run in the old ISRC Truck Series run also here in WSSR, and also those that run in BRB. They're all going to be trying out the Trinity Racing League. Up front here this evening, we are in overtime. This is our first attempt of 3 if needed. It's Shane Terrian, Vincent Sora, as well as John Forbes, Ali Fonseca, Larry Yingling, the 71, and Nico Garcia. Who's in the ready? As we are green with overtime attempt number 1. Again, we got to stay green for this first lap. Once we take the white flag, this race is official. But if we get a caution under this first lap, we will go into overtime attempt number 2. Richard, it looks good for now, but we know the madness is off of 2.
It's off of 2, and it's great launch by Shane Terry, and is able to get out front. He's going to be able to utilize that air blocking a little bit to try and stop any kind of run as the cars are fanning out. Couple of people getting into the wall. Gavin Rogers is under attack also, but John Forbes surges to the inside, try to getting underneath. Shane Terrian is unable to get there quite yet. Shane Terrian in control out of 4. They're coming around. They still have to take the white flag. Drivers are still into each other's door. White flag is out. This race is official.
White flag is out in the hands out there as this race is official. We need no other overtime attempts. Will it be Terrian? Will it be Forbes, Sora, Nico Garcia trying to get into the mix? It's teammate on teammate action. Nightmare Fuel going to be in the middle. They're wrecking further behind. It's a massive collision, but it's 3 drivers racing for the lead. Shane Terrian looking for redemption. He'll have to defend the huge dive bomb move by John Forbes. Forbes running up the corner. He'll use up the 9. He'll put the 9 in the wall, or will they stay off of it? They stay side by side. They're door big into the line. Vincent Sword trying to get there, but it's Forbes taking it off of 4. 4 wins for Forbes, and what a way to get it done at the end. Oh, retaliation by the 9. He's not happy about that one.
Shane Terrian is not happy how he was raced by John Forbes coming out of turn 4. Forbes and Shane Terrian door to door, beating and banging on the front stretch, but Shane Terrian unable to inch ahead as John Forbes takes his 4th win of the season.
And I had a feeling, I didn't say it during the yellow, but Forbes as well as Ali Fonseca, they were the 2 that if they were behind in second, they were going to use up the 9. I think if he had Larry Yingling or Vincent Sora challenging Shane Terrian there at the end, they weren't going to door him. They weren't going to use him up like that. But John Forbes is willing to use anything in the rule book to get him into victory lane, and he does it there. The 1 takes the victory here at Michigan. Congratulations to the 1 machine of John Forbes, his 4th of the season in his march for his 2nd WSSR VRS Cup Series championship. Still looks very promising, as we will step aside when we come back. More drama might be ramping up. We got the post-race interviews. We're going to talk to the 1. We're going to talk to the 9 and get his thoughts from Vincent Sora and a spotlight driver after this. What a race. What a finish. Congratulations to John Forbes on getting his 4th win here at Michigan. We'll be back with the post-race show right after this. Well, the drama out track gives us a winner by John Forbes, his 4th of the season. And oh, for some, maybe might be a little controversial, but for the driver who gets it done, John is happy. Into victory lane we go to talk to the gridless graphics machine. John, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. Your 4th win of the season, and it comes here at Michigan. You went down there, you used up the 9, and you got it done at the very end. Man, how are you feeling after your performance here tonight, from a drive-through penalty to start the evening off to victory lane at the end?
Yeah, I know it's a controversial move, but I've been using that bottom lane all night, and I knew, like, if I saw that bottom line open, I'm going to take the opportunity to try to get the pass done. And I mean, I don't feel like I did anything too crazy. I mean, there's really no way to pass these things, and once you make the move, I mean, I didn't do anything intentional to wreck him or anything like that, but we just kind of slid up, made some contact, and it stalled us out. And from there, you just have to try to get away. And then he tried to get into me, and it just locked us up. And from there, just came home with a checkered. So yeah, we're not here to just ride around, finish second every week. I mean, I see a chance to win the race. We're gonna make that chance, and that's why we're sitting up here with 4 this season. So I mean, we're driving virtual pixels here. I mean, we're not doing anything in the NASCAR Cup Series, anything like that. So I expect to be raced the same way. I mean, it's we're out here to have fun, and that's what I'm doing.
That's 4 wins on the season for you, John, and it's been a dominating season for yourself so far. A couple races left of the season. I mean, are you just trying to extend those extra playoff points to give yourself a nice buffer going into Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's nice to have. I'm honestly, for this season, I'm just learning the new car. I have a lot of things coming up with the Area Cup Series and the Road to Pro next year. So I'm really trying to figure out this new tire model, see what moves work, what doesn't, and I experimented with that a lot tonight. There were moves I made. It was kind of weird, like out of 2. It's like when the banking starts going away, and if you're directly behind someone, the car just goes straight. It doesn't matter if you let out. It doesn't matter if you keep on the throttle or keeps turning the wheel. Like, you are probably going to hit the wall. And I experimented that, unfortunately, a few times tonight with that. But yeah, just really trying to figure out what works. Obviously, the bottom was working really good for me tonight, experimenting with gears and stuff like that. And by the end of the race, I really had it figured out. And then from there, the caution kept coming out every time we had a good battle. Started to get to the front. And then I was lucky enough to stay right in front of Ollie there when that last caution came out. So put me 4th on the top, and I got some great pushes from Vinny. Got a good restart. And I don't think without Vinny we were going to win this thing tonight. So I got to thank him for giving me those pushes. We kind of talked about it on the last restart, like, hey, we kind of got to work together if one of us want to win this thing. So whoever got in front of the other, I mean, that's just kind of what happened. So I got to thank Vinny for that once again. But trying to get a good gap for the playoffs for sure. Obviously, these wins help a lot, and just keep racking them up for the stat sheet and stuff. I know a lot of these guys on the series have been in it a lot longer than I have, so just trying to climb up that wins sheet ladder, pretty cool. So yeah, just trying to carry the momentum, keep it going in the playoffs. I do have like a big move coming up in a couple weeks, so I might be out for a week or 2 because of that. But yeah, just trying to rack them up while I can here this season.
I mean, John, you just said it. You're willing to have the other racers race like you did, and does that make you a little bit more nervous knowing that you're just racing in the regular season now, and the playoffs, like you said, are just about a month away?
Yeah, I mean, it's give and take, and obviously I've been taking, and I expect the other drivers to as well. I mean, I feel like in the past too, there's been plenty of take, so I'm at the point where I'm going to start giving back as well. And like early in the race, I got into Drew a little bit, and then he tried to turn me. So yeah, it's just honestly trying to experiment with the car and stuff too. I mean, what type of bumps and stuff are savable, and how to win these races, what types of moves you have to make to get it done. And like tonight, I knew a path, I had a shot, and just really wanted to see if it would work, and it did tonight. So that's what we're going to keep doing the rest of the season. It's a lot of fun to come out here, race with my teammates and stuff, and just kind of leave the opinions of the drivers stuff out of it and just come here and have a good time.
Well, that will be your winner here tonight. His 4th of the season and winner of the Michigan 220. John, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, I got to thank Nightmare Fuel again, wanting Vince over for the pushes tonight. We had a decent point tonight. I think we're still going to keep extending our gap. Thomas, after getting a wreck, came back to 13th, so that was super cool. Gotta thank my brother Justin for putting together some great schemes this season. Had another one lined up for last week and wasn't able to race last week. So yeah, maybe we'll get a new one cooked up for the playoffs coming up. But I gotta thank him. I love this scheme. Maybe even we'll run it the rest of the season. I gotta thank you guys for putting these broadcasts on. Can't wait to go back and watch it later.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. That will be your winner here tonight in the number 1 gridless graphics machine of John Forbes. Another win on his march to try to go back-to-back in the championship. John, enjoy this one, and we'll see you next week at the Roval.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
As we move from victory lane, we go down to second place to the number 9 machine of Shane Darian, who is up front trying to get that redemption run. Didn't get into the wall coming to the white flag this go around, but instead got past coming to the checkered. Shane, you did a lot of work to get up front, but how are you feeling with your performance here this evening?
I'm going to correct you. That was not a pass. That was crap racing. That's what that was. I don't know. I'm gonna try not to cuss, but that was just ridiculous. I understand racing for the win, but when this guy's got multiple wins. I didn't see the reason to door me up the track. I don't race people dirty. I give nobody reasons to race me dirty, and to get shoved up the racetrack for a win when he probably could have just stayed on my inside because I was able to pass people like that all race long, no problem. Yeah, that's just crap. It wasn't a pass.
Well, Shane, unfortunate end of the race, and you were doing really, really well all race tonight. Even your teammate Nico coming up in the top 5 as well. I mean, is there anything you think you could have done different on that last lap to maybe have protected that inside line? I know John said he'd been using that inside line all race. Do you think that maybe blocking his inside line there might have helped out?
No, because I knew he was going to send it. He was sending it everything, and I knew his last lap he was going to send it. He was just going to hit me right in the rear, and it was going to send me up the track. He was dead set at hitting me no matter what he was going to do. It didn't really matter what I was going to do. If I tried to get to the bottom and send it in, he was going to hit me. If I gave him the lane, he was going to hit me. If I rode the very top, he was going to come off the corner and hit me. It didn't really matter what I was going to do. I know how people race like that. I know the mentality. It's just not racing. This racing has gone to crap over the last few years. No one knows how to race clean. No one knows how to pass clean. It's upsetting, honestly. I barely win, barely have chances to win, and race everyone so clean that I get treated with just disrespect all the time.
Oh, just from talking to John, he did make kind of an open statement. Hey, that's the way I'm going to race, and I expect everyone to race me the same. Does that change your mentality at all, looking forward to any of these future races? Does it make you think about maybe using up other drivers, or are you still going to try to race everyone as clean as you can?
I'm still going to race clean. That's how I raced on this sim. That's how I have, over 100 league wins, 7 championships. I always race clean, and I'm not going to stoop down to people being low and hitting people out of the way just to win races. That's just not fun to me, and I don't think that's the right way to do things. So if that's how he wants to race, I mean, I owe him a receipt, just like I owe Seth Noel a receipt. So, yeah, that's just what's going to happen.
Well, Shane, I know you wanted this win. You almost were able to get that redemption at the end, but coming away second here tonight, not the worst finish you could ask for, but I know it's comes with a bitter taste. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Shout out Team L Designs, Team VRS, Nico for the paint. I don't even know where Nico finished. He got top 5, so yeah. You guys for broadcasting. I'm just gonna go, I don't know, hang my head up high, I guess.
Well, that will be the 9 machine of Shane Tarrant coming away second here tonight. Congratulations on a great run, Shane. And we hope that this momentum carries forward into the rest of this regular season. And best of luck heading to the Roval next week. As we move from second place, we go down to third to talk to John Forbes' teammate of Vincent Sora. Coming away third here for the 51. At times, looked like he was one of the fastest drivers out there on track, but only able to come away with third here this evening. Vinny, you got to see the show there coming to the end. Almost thought you would have a chance to steal it by both of them, with both drivers getting into one another. How are you feeling coming to the end of this race and taking away third?
I mean, I'm pretty happy that finally, for once, over here on a Wednesday night, doing an interview where I'm not a part of some sort of controversy and I just get to kind of sit back and watch it all unfold. But no, I mean, I'm really happy. I had great speed all night. I qualified a lot higher up than I thought I was going to. Unfortunately, got caught up in that first wreck and just kind of got clipped and spun around. Didn't hit anything really. And then from the rest of the race, it was kind of about strategies, just trying to pit at the right time and give myself track position. I think I made pretty much all the right calls. Looking back on the race, I got to clean air at one point about halfway through, and I was able to control and get some laps led. And I knew that I had good speed all night. It was just super difficult to pass. That's the nature of Michigan and as the next gen, especially now after the rebuild. It's just so incredibly hard to set stuff up and get passes done because of how bad it is to follow the car ahead of you and have someone on your door. And without the long runs tonight, it was even more difficult. But yeah, I had a really good restart. The one before, I made up like 6 spots in a lap or two, and that was really cool. I don't know if you guys saw it on the broadcast, but I was kind of freaking out because it felt really cool from the driver's seat. I think just there on that last restart, I needed to line up the second car outside where John did, because restarting on the bottom, not being the control car, I was just kind of a sit and duck, and the last 2 laps went pretty much how I expected them to.
Well, Vinny, a fantastic win. Third place finish for you tonight. Another finish behind your teammate, John Forbes, not directly behind him, but a few spots behind him. With all those cautions near the end of the race, do you think that what really helped you guys on those older tires to stay up front and not let those fresh tires come up and pass you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. The tires are weird in the next gen. I was on older tires early on in the race, and it's just like we're so even now. I mean, we saw a few weeks ago 2 tires at Las Vegas were better than 4, and we've seen earlier on in the season when John and I took 2 at Texas, they were better than 4. So we were on 4 right then, but they were still older, like you said, than the cars behind us. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just weird. It's all about track position really, and who has the clean air and the line that you get put in on the restarts and the type of help that you have. These cars just are so aero dependent that tires really don't even make that big of a difference.
I mean, Vinny, we've seen here tonight, and I think it's kind of been a building thing of how to race one another cleanly. I was going to make the comment right before that last restart. Seeing drivers that are running cleanly, you and Larry Yingling are always the first 2 that come to mind when I think about the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Does a race like tonight kind of make you concerned about the fact that people are going to start using their bumpers a lot more, start using each other up a lot more, and running cleanly is kind of hurting yourself in the future as we're inching ourselves closer and closer to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think we've seen the nature of racing, not only here in WSR, but just iRacing as a whole, and IRL. I think we've seen the standard racing drop, and I think that's partially due to the type of cars that we drive and how they race. Like I said, they're so track position dependent and aero dependent. And I think it's also just kind of a new generation of drivers. Yeah, it is frustrating sometimes, to be raced the way we see some guys do. I've been on the bad end of it before, and contrary to popular belief, I feel like I'm one of the cleaner guys here. I definitely I kind of pride myself on how much slack I cut other drivers and how clean I try to race everybody. And I think the incident points in Sim Racer Hub reflect how clean I try to race. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point. What we see sometimes, like you said, the guys like Larry and I, we just kind of have to put our foot down, and we're gonna have to maybe stop cutting as many breaks and start, throwing it all out there and racing other guys the way we get raced.
Oh, it certainly makes us a little bit more nervous up in the booth, but also excited when we hear that type of noise being shouted out. But Vinny, an incredible run for yourself, coming away third. Like I said, you were quick here tonight. Before we give it a call, though, for yourself, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, definitely just the admin team over here. They've all been working really hard and trying to make changes necessary to clean up the racing product. And I don't think that we have anything to be ashamed of. It's just, like I said, kind of the nature of how it is right now in iRacing, unfortunately. So I'm hoping as the season goes on, we'll kind of clean it up more and we'll get the longer runs that we've seen in seasons past. Shout out to all the drivers still for showing up. I mean, we had a great field tonight. We had 34 cars on week whatever it is now, like 9 or 10 it feels like. So that's cool. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Shout out to John for besting me once again. Hopefully one of these times I'll be on the better end of one of these late race restarts and I can maybe get another win or two. Shout out to Jarrett and Thomas. They had really bad luck tonight and ended up on the hook, I think. So I'm sure we'll see them back up at the front. And I think that's about it.
Well, that'll be your third place finisher here tonight in the 51 machine of Vincent Sora. Vinny, congratulations on a top 3 finish. Enjoy it and good luck next week as we head back to road course racing at the Roval.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
As we move from third place finisher, we're going to move outside of the top 10. We saw a bunch of chaos run down there late coming out of turn 2 with all the wrecks that happened. The floodgates open and some drivers are gifted with some pretty awesome finishes. One of those being the 19 of Tyler Dangler. Tyler, at moments here tonight, we saw you battling outside of the top 20, trying to find your way to survive the chaos and madness, but there late, you come away with the top 15 finish. How are you feeling after this run and coming away 12th at the end of the day?
Well, honestly, I have no idea. The like you said, the floodgates opened on the last lap or on the backstretch, and I just put my foot to the floor. Luckily, Moses found a way for it to happen. I was able to make it through. I thought I was going to be able to pass Zach too, but Dirty Air got in my way. And I mean, honestly, if I had a good explanation, I'd tell you. But being 12th after what I thought I was going to have a terrible race is honestly pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, a great finish for yourself still, Tyler. I mean, you're not raced every single race this season, but to come out in Michigan, finish 12th. I mean, does this give you maybe a little bit of boost in your confidence to run a little higher up there, maybe even finish in the top 10 later this season?
Well, the main reason that I've been missing so many races is just because I have a hard time getting off of work on these Wednesday nights. That's why I think I missed Rockingham and I think a few other races beginning of the season. Missed Bristol too. But I wanted to race Michigan. That was definitely circled on the calendar for the season. I don't know where we go next week. I don't know where we go for the rest of the season. It's kind of a week by week basis on how work treats me and what tracks are coming up and which races I want to be at. I'm definitely thankful I was able to get home in time to be able to race. I'm definitely glad I was able to get a good finish.
Well, Tyler, next 3, if you're able to show up, we've got ourselves the Roval, North Wilkesboro, and then Talladega to finish out the regular season. Any of those 3 that you circled up and is on your list of I want to show up for?
So the Roval, maybe. What did you say the next one was?
North Wilkesboro and Talladega.
Definitely not North Wilkesboro. You will not be seeing me there. Talladega, though, there is what was he? The 88 at the time. What was his name? Drew Jua. I think I might have to get my my redemption back from that lost race, finishing second. So you might see me at Talladega. I might need to finish what I started.
Well, I cannot wait to see how that comes around, Tyler. We hope to see you out on track as many times as we can for the rest of this season. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Well, Sam, I'd like to thank you and Richard for broadcasting. Robert, you up producing. You guys always do a fantastic job with these broadcasts. I'd like to thank the league for putting on these races each and every week. And I'd like to thank my backmarker racing teammates and as well as everyone who wrecked on the backstretch. Thank you very much.
Tyler comes away 12th here tonight. Congratulations on taking that finish away, Tyler. Enjoy it, and cannot wait to see you out on track once again.
Thank you so much, Sam. Have a good one.
You too, as that will finish out our interviews here tonight. Certainly interesting thoughts all around from our top 3 on the controversy at the end. Some, such as John Forbes, feels like it wasn't too crazy of a move. Others feel like it was a disrespectful move from the eyes of Shane Terrian and others throughout the league. Some are not happy about it. Others saying it is what it is. But for us, here's your unofficial results on tonight's race. Lots of different movements going to be happening from about 8th on back, but your top runners goes to John Forbes by just under 200ths of a second. It's the one taking the victory side by side with Shane Terrian in the 9. Third goes to Vincent Sora as he was about a 10th off. Thought maybe he could squeak his way forward, not able to do so. His first top 5 of the season, the 71 of Nico Garcia from his netcode pit and slide to a top 5. You like to see that from the 71. The 67 of Larry Yingling will come away with 5th. Ollie Fonseca, another impressive run by the 24. He is making a very strong surge to watch out to point his way into the playoffs, as Ollie will take that 6th place position. Ryan Kelly will take 7th. Drew Jua will take 8th. 9th is Gavin Rogers, who will become our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the day, of 21 spots from where he started. And taking 10th, it's the 8 of Brian McCann, who also had a very quiet, strong day for the 8 machine.
Yeah, very quiet, strong race for Brian McCann. And sometimes it's not a bad thing to have a quiet race. I mean, he's up there running in the top, or, finishing in the top 10. So great run from him. Zach Hall finishing 11th. I know he was saying he was wanting to race a more methodical race after winning stage 1. He's trying to point his way into the championship as well. So that 11th place finish will definitely help him out in that endeavor that he's got. He's still got a long ways to go, but still a very good possibility if he can tie another few races in like this. Cedric Hunter falling back to the 19th position after a big wreck in the ending laps there. Got spun out on the front stretch. Didn't really get a lot of damage, but was able to rebound, get back up to the 19th position. So great work from him. But a few drivers, unfortunate to see Justin Malarkey, Manazzi Major, Nick Renner, and Ross Tatum, they were not able to finish this race due to incidents they were involved in earlier on. So unfortunate to see for them, but overall, I think it was a really good race with a lot of fireworks near the end.
We thought all the heated moments were going to be just from last week. I was curious on how aggressively he was going to push over here to Michigan, and it certainly has blossomed into a more drama-filled event. Drivers are going to have their own thoughts and opinions on that finish, but at the end of the day, it's the one of John Forbes grabbing his 4th win of the season. Crazy to say that the one machine has gotten his 4th win out of 9 races so far. Richard, this one, I mean, he was the 11 last season. He took the 1 as a championship past winner. He's got the decision to be the 1 the next season. There is no championship curse for John Forbes right now.
Yeah, definitely no championship curse at all for Forbes. We almost thought that it was going to be the case when Zach Hall took the championship 2 seasons ago, and then they changed it to where they allowed the number 1 to be the defending champion's number. So Zach Hall took it last season, did not have a season he wanted to remember. He was not able to continue very far in the playoffs. So it almost looked like it was going to be that defending championship number 1 curse. But John Forbes proving there's no curse. I mean, he goes from the number 11 to the number 1. So he just removes number 1 from his original number. But he is showing he has got the speed. And like you said, he's going to be working on Road to Pro here soon. So that'll be an exciting endeavor to watch him do as well, because that is a very tall task to complete.
One of the journeys that some of these drivers go for. How far along can you go? And looks sort of like for the 1, it feels like every move he's making, it just works out for his own success. Well, if you want to see other drivers and their success, we've got you covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we return this upcoming Tuesday. BRB Butt Kicker Racing League is back to racing action as we get to see the next gen vehicles Tuesday night heading to Dover to continue on their regular season march. Then we're right back here next week for the WSSR VRS Cup Series at the Roval. Race 10 on the schedule and 3 more races left in the regular season. This road course could be a make or break for some driver seasons. This could be it. You need to be strong, and that means a lot of drivers going to be taking in a lot of account. What is the new tire? What is your new aero? How does it affect road course racing? That is something I have no idea about. I think I'm going to enjoy learning that from the drivers throughout this week as we see the Roval ahead of us. Certainly going to be fun racing we want to watch throughout this time, but Richard, Roval next week. Any thoughts on that? And have you seen any road course racing with this new update yet?
I haven't seen any new updates with the or I haven't seen any racing with the road course racing with this new update. I mean, as far as Aero, I don't feel Aero is going to be that big of a deal when it comes to the road course racing. It generally isn't. Now, the tire model, I think that is going to be the biggest difference we see with these drivers. The way that they've made these tires, I do believe a little bit of a softer compound. They take a little bit longer to warm up. So these cars are going to be very loose at the Roval, which is already a very loose track, especially going into that turn 1. The car gets very upset going up into that hill, into that little tunnel straightaway into the infield, and that can produce a lot of chaos on restarts. So it's going to be really interesting to see if those drivers can make it through that cleanly on lap 1. But I mean, we're probably going to see, I know Gavin Rogers is chasing that first win of the season. He's still leading in points, which is impressive. He's only had one race where he hasn't been in the top 10, but he's still chasing his first win of the season.
Still chasing for that win. We'll see if it is next week at the Roval. But it has been a fun one to call. I want to also say thank you to the amazing sponsors for this season of the WSSR Cup Series. That being the title sponsor of VRS. That's the Virtual Racing School. Also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and our camera providers here for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Whiplash Sim Cams. Thank you so much to all the amazing sponsors that come around and help us on Wednesday night, as well as we want to thank you for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Richard Wolsifer, and for Robert Moyer Jr. and everyone else that helps out here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday with us. The fireworks are still going off for the drivers, and we'll see if it calms down before next week at the Roval, or will it trickle in to the end of the regular season and potentially into the playoffs? We'll have to wait and see. But for tonight, it might have been controversial, but it's his 4th win of the season. John Forbes gets it done for race 9 of season 11 here at Michigan. Congratulations to John, as we cannot wait to see next week at the Roval. What does it have for us? We'll have to wait and see. But if you want to see racing action before then, we will see you Tuesday night. It's going to be the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, heading to Dover for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.